The divine sword is invincible. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 926 Dead. Huang Wanlin was surprised to see Yang Xiaoshan was unharmed, but when he saw the bodies of Shi Xianhang and others scattered all over the ground, he was completely stunned. Li Feng and all the masters of the Xiandi Palace were also stunned. Li Feng looked at Shi Xianhang's body cut in half, and his whole body trembled uncontrollably. His face was pale, and he pointed at Shi Xianhang's body. His tongue trembled, and his speech was unclear. Huang Yan, Han Feng, and a group of sect masters and family heads were also shocked, and couldn't believe it. Dead, dead. A sect master stuttered. Shi Xianhang, the young patriarch of the God of Food clan, is dead. Not only Shi Xianhang, but all the masters of the God of Food clan who came this time, are all dead. All the masters of the God of Food clan died without a complete body, either cut in half, or cut into several halves. The God of Food clan's God Emperor even exploded all over his body, turning into a pile of blood and flesh on the ground. Li Feng and the masters of the Xiandi Palace who came with Shi Xianhang felt that the sky was collapsing. Before they came, they promised the chief of the God of Food that they would defeat Yang Xiaoshan with chess and kill him. But now Yang Xiaoshan's life was not taken, and Shi Xianhang and all the masters of the God of Food were dead. But they are still alive. Thinking of the anger of the chief of the God of Food, Li Feng felt boundless fear. Yang Xiaoshan, you. Li Feng trembled, looking at Yang Xiaoshan in shock and anger. You killed the chief of the God of Food. You can wait to be hunted down by the God of Food endlessly. Yang Xiaoshan looked at Li Feng coldly. I can kill Shi Xianhang, thanks to you. If you hadn't lost the chess game with me, and lost the lives of Shi Xianhang and others to me, if you hadn't brought Shi Xianhang to me today, I wouldn't have had the chance to kill Shi Xianhang and others. Li Feng's face turned pale and bloodless when he heard this, and his hands and feet felt cold. Your Highness, it's not suitable to stay here for a long time. Let's withdraw first. An old ancestor of the Emperor Palace came to Li Feng and sent a message to Li Feng. Shi Xianhang and the others were already dead. If they stayed any longer, they would be the next to die. Li Feng woke up in shock. Retreat. Li Feng and the others in the Xiandi Palace activated the Divine Shadow Escape Talisman. The power of the Divine Shadow Escape Talisman enveloped Li Feng and the others, tearing through the void and disappearing on the spot. Yang Xiaoshan did not stop them and let Li Feng and the others escape. After Li Feng and the others escaped, Yang Xiaoshan clasped his fists to Huang Wanlin and said, Your Majesty, I'm sorry for dirtying the hall. Huang Wanlin woke up in shock, looked at Yang Xiaoshan, and shook his hand with mixed feelings, saying, It's okay. He looked at the bodies of Shi Xianhang and the others, hesitated for a moment, and then had them all thrown out of the Imperial Palace of the Eternal Divine Kingdom. However, because of Shi Xianhang's incident, the banquet did not continue, and ended in a hurry. The news of Yang Xiaoshan's chess match with Li Feng soon spread. Upon learning that Shi Xianhang, the young leader of the God-Eating clan, and dozens of God-Eating clan masters had died in the palace of the Eternal Divine Kingdom, the Eternal Divine Kingdom was shocked. In the deepest space of the palace of the Eternal Divine Kingdom, Huang Wanlin reported to Huang Zhao, the ancestor of the Eternal Divine Empire, everything that happened in the palace tonight. Huang Zhao was also shocked to learn that Shi Xianhang and a group of masters of the God-Eating clan were killed by Yang Xiaoshan. Shi Xianhang and the others disappeared for less than 30 breaths, and when they reappeared, they were all dead. Huang Zhao was also surprised after hearing this. Yes. Huang Wanlin's voice was solemn. Are you sure that Shi Xianhang and the others were not killed by other masters of the Heaven and Earth Divine Palace? Huang Zhao asked. Huang Wanlin shook his head and said with certainty, I and a group of masters were at the scene at that time. If a master from the Heaven and Earth Divine Palace had taken action, we would have definitely discovered it. Then he recalled, at that time, Yang Xiaoshan activated the Spirit Stone Array to attack Shi Xianhang and others, and then he and Shi Xianhang and others disappeared. That Spirit Stone Array should be a space array, and they should have entered a certain space together. I just don't know how Yang Xiaoshan killed Shi Xianhang and others. This is what Huang Wanlin couldn't figure out. How did Yang Xiaoshan, a divine lord, kill Shishiyan Hang and his group of divine emperors, divine lords and divine emperors? Huang Zhao's eyes were deep. It seems that this little guy Yang Xiaoshan is not simple. The divine emperor of the divine god clan is a first level one, right? Yes. Huang Wanlin nodded and said, he is a divine emperor in the middle of the first level. Therefore, to be able to kill dozens of Shishiyan Han people so quickly, at least the 4th or even 5th level of divine emperor strength is required. See if this little guy has time. Arrange it. I want to meet this little guy. Huang Zhao said to Huang Wanlin. Yes, ancestor. Huang Wanlin replied respectfully, then hesitated and said, what about Shishiyan Han and others? Huang Zhao understood what Huang Wanlin meant. After all, Shishiyan Han and others died in the palace of the Eternal God Kingdom. He was worried that the God Eaters would retaliate against the Eternal God Kingdom. I haven't seen Old Man Shi for many years. If he comes, I will meet him. Huang Zhao looked at a certain direction in the void and spoke. At this time, Yang Xiaoshan opened Shishiyan Han's space artifact in the palace, arranged by Huang Wanlin for him. Although the Shishiyan He people he killed in Xianji Valley were also direct disciples of the God Eaters, they were far inferior to Shishiyan Hang and others in terms of status and position. There were no good things in the space artifact. However, as the young patriarch of the God Eaters, Shishiyan Hang should have a lot of good things on him, right? After opening Shishiyan Hang's space artifact, he saw that it was filled with various natural treasures and countless divine spirit stones. However, there were not many chaos spirit stones, only a few hundred. What surprised Yang Xiaoshan was that there were actually a few origin divine fruits. In addition to several origin divine fruits, there were also more than a dozen mouthfuls of heavenly Dao holy water and some Hunyuan heavenly tribulation thunder water. Afterwards, Yang Xiaoshan opened the space artifacts of other God Eater clan masters one by one. All the heavenly materials and earthly treasures of the God Eater clan masters were piled together, like a small mountain. The divine grade spiritual stones added together amounted to hundreds of millions. There were more than 100 chaos spiritual stones. There were more than 100 mouthfuls of heavenly Dao holy water, and even more Hunyuan heavenly tribulation thunder water. Since Shishiyan Hang and others were all above the divine emperor, they usually took divine medicines of more than 20 million years old to practice, and the divine medicines in every one's space artifacts were all more than 20 million years old. Yang Xiaoshan counted them, and found that there were a total of 16 20-million-year-old divine medicines, and there was also a 30-million-year-old divine medicine. Looking at these dozen divine medicines, Yang Xiaoshan could not hide his joy. With so many 20-million-year-old divine medicines, it was enough for him to improve his strength by a large margin. It was just a pity that only Shishiyan Han had the origin divine fruit. These few origin divine fruits could not allow his origin divine body to break through the 18th level. Yang Xiaoshan gave half of the heavenly Dao holy water and Hunyuan heavenly tribulation thunder water to Dingyue for cultivation and recovery. Afterwards, he sat down cross-legged and swallowed the next Hunyuan destiny divine fruit, Hangmeng divine fruit, and origin divine fruit at the same time, and practiced the exercises. Just as Yang Xiaoshan swallowed the 3 divine fruits to practice, on a mountain not far from the ancient divine kingdom, one of the 4 evil ancestors of the God Eater clan, Hunzu, looked at the corpses of the 79 Sky Eaters in front of him, and his whole body was extremely cold. Chapter 927 Soul Ancestors Killing Intention. Feeling the terrible killing intent from Soul Ancestor, all the masters of the God Eater clan were silent, and no one dared to speak. Yang Xiaoshan, if I don't kill you, I won't be called Soul Ancestor. Soul Ancestor's voice floated out from the hell of hell. I will make you experience all the extreme pain in the world. Let you live a life worse than death. I will shatter your divine veins one by one, and then use the soul needle to pierce your danshan and your heart. Listening to Soul Ancestor's words, all the masters of the God Eater clan felt cold in their hands and feet. Soul Ancestor's soul needle is made of hundreds of the most poisonous substances in the world. If you are pierced by his soul needle, you will be in excruciating pain, not to mention piercing your danshan and heart. Lord Soul Ancestor, should we report this to Lord Ancestor? After a while, an old ancestor of the God Eater clan said bravely. Soul Ancestor's voice was cold. No need. The first ancestor has been practicing the mixed world magic skill in seclusion recently for the battle with Old Man Guo, so I won't disturb the first ancestor about this matter. When the first ancestor's mixed world magic skill is cultivated to the primordial realm, Old Man Guo will die. The primordial realm is stronger than the realm of all things being demons. Master Soul Ancestor, you are of noble status. You don't have to deal with Yang Zai Ocean yourself. Let your subordinates deal with Yang Zai Ocean. A master of the God of Food clan who was at the peak of the late 10th level of the God Emperor came forward to ask for instructions. Soul Ancestor glanced at the other party and pondered. Okay, I want him alive. You leave him first. Bring him back to me. The God of Food clan master said respectfully. Don't worry, Master Soul Ancestor. I will bring Yang Zai Ocean back to you. The Imperial Palace of the Eternal God Kingdom. After a night, Yang Zai Ocean refined the 3 divine fruits and felt that his divine power increased by 1 point. Early in the morning, Huang Wanlin came to find him. After the two exchanged pleasantries, Huang Wanlin asked, "Does the young master have time?" Our ancestors said they wanted to meet the young master. Yang Zai Ocean was just about to ask the ancestor of the Eternal Divine Kingdom about the origin divine fruit. Hearing this, he nodded and said, "Okay, I also want to visit Senior Huang." So Huang Wanlin brought Yang Zai Ocean to see Huang Zhao. Young Yang Zai Ocean greets Senior Huang. Seeing Huang Zhao, Yang Zai Ocean bowed and said with a fist. Huang Zhao helped Yang Zai Ocean up and said with a smile, "Young master, there is no need to be polite. The title of young master is now in the heyday of the divine realm. It is a blessing for our divine realm to have a young master. Old senior, you are too kind." Yang Zai Ocean smiled. So Huang Zhao asked Yang Zai Ocean to sit down. Huang Wanlin, the emperor of the Eternal Divine Kingdom, personally filled Yang Zai Ocean's cup of spiritual tea. Yang Zai Ocean and Huang Zhao started chatting, and Huang Wanlin sometimes interrupted. The few of them chatted very well. After chatting for a while, Yang Zai Ocean asked Huang Zhao about the origin divine fruit. Huang Zhao was startled and a little surprised when he heard Yang Zai Ocean asking about the origin divine fruit. Then he smiled and said, "Yes, I got more than 100 origin divine fruits in the Origin Deo Palace. But over the years, half of them have been used up. Now there are more than 50. Since the young master needs them, I will take them to the young master." Yang Zai Ocean saw that Huang Zhao knew that he needed the origin divine fruit and gave him the remaining origin divine fruit without saying a word. He was moved and stood up and said, "Senior Huang, I can exchange the chaos spirit vein with you." Huang Zhao shook his hand and smiled. "Your master and I have been friends for many years. It's just more than 50 origin divine fruits. It's nothing. You don't need to be polite to me. If the young master feels embarrassed, then, in 30,000 years, in the Battle of Shyandao Mountain, you help the divine realm win the first place, and you will repay the favor of more than 50 origin divine fruits." 30,000 years later? Obviously, Huang Zhao also felt that the time for this Battle of Shyandao Mountain was too short, and Yang Zai Ocean was too late to participate. Yang Zai Ocean clasped his fists and said, "Thank you, senior. Don't worry, I will not disappoint you and master." Okay. Huang Zhao was very happy to hear this, and then talked to Yang Zai Ocean about some of his deeds when he traveled with the Lord of Heaven and Earth to the God Realm, the Boundless Demon Realm, the Hell Ghost Realm and other domains. Yang Zai Ocean was surprised. He didn't expect that master and Huang Zhao still had these past events. Huang Zhao sighed. So many years have passed in the blink of an eye. Thinking about these things, it seems like yesterday. Then he said to Yang Zai Ocean, "Stay in the Imperial Palace for a few more days. Come to me when you are free these days, chat with me, and let's learn swordsmanship from each other." Yang Zai Ocean smiled and said, "Okay, I will obey your orders these days. I will come to ask you for swordsmanship more often these days." In the following days, Yang Zai Ocean stayed in the Imperial Palace of the Eternal Divine Kingdom and swallowed the Hunio and Destiny Divine Fruit, the Hang Meng Divine Fruit, and the Origin Divine Fruit to practice at night. During the day, he would come to Huang Zhao and ask Huang Zhao for advice on swordsmanship. Sometimes Yang Zai Ocean would play the piano and discuss swordsmanship with Huang Yan and Han Feng. In his spare time, Yang Xiaoshan would look through the secret manuals of the Chaos Demon Lord, the saint ancestor of the demon clan, and his master, the Lord of Heaven and Earth, and the Lord of Time. Yang Xiaoshan was not in a hurry to leave the Eternal Imperial Palace, and planned to take this opportunity to cultivate the Hunyu and Xianming Divine Body and the Hongmeng Divine Body to the 18th level. Of course, he did not forget to devour the Dragon Ball of the Beginning Dragon to cultivate the Tegu Shilingju. Now, his Tegu Shilingju has been cultivated to the peak of the early 18th level, and within 2 years, he should be able to break through the middle 18th level. Half a year later, Yang Xiaoshan's Hunyu and Xianming Divine Body and the Hongmeng Divine Body both broke through the 18th level. After the breakthrough, Yang Xiaoshan did not stay in the Eternal Imperial Palace any longer, and said goodbye to Huang Zhao and others and left. However, he did not go back to the Divine Palace of Heaven and Earth with his master Han Feng and others, but planned to look for the dozen sword formations that his master, the Lord of Heaven and Earth, mentioned. Moreover, the God Eater clan now wanted to grind him to dust, and it would be too dangerous for Han Feng and his companions to stay with him. After leaving the Imperial Palace, Yang Xiaoshan went to the Land of Death. According to his master, the Lord of Heaven and Earth, there was a death sword formation in the Land of Death, and the sword domain had been born many years ago. At that time, he would fuse the death sword domain, and refine the dozen or so divine medicines he got from Xian Hong and others. Yang Xiaoshan drove a vast sea boat, flying to the Land of Death from left to right. The God Eater clan master, who was at the peak of the late 10th level of the Divine Emperor, also followed behind, and he was full of astonishment when he saw the vast sea boat flying in front of him with a twisted hip. Originally, he wanted to attack Yang Xiaoshan several times, but the vast sea boat's flight route was so strange that he couldn't do it, and the vast sea boat's speed was so fast and strange that he could only barely keep up. But fortunately for him, after arriving at the Land of Death, Yang Xiaoshan's vast sea boat finally stopped. Yang Xiaoshan put away the vast sea boat and looked in a certain direction. "You have been following me all the way. Are you not going to come out?" After hesitating for a moment, the God of Food expert came out of the void and looked at Yang Xiaoshan in doubt. However, Yang Xiaoshan looked in another direction. "You don't have to hide anymore. Come out together." Chapter 928, The Eightfold Divine Lord. The God Eater clan expert was surprised. There were other experts. He couldn't help but look over. As Yang Xiaoshan finished speaking, a person walked out from another direction. Seeing the person coming, the God Eater clan expert was startled. Deng Tong. Deng Tong, the supreme elder of the Divine Shadow clan, was a peak late-stage Divine Emperor of the 10th layer, just like him, and was also the first supreme elder of the Divine Shadow clan. His strength was far superior to other Divine Emperor of the 10th layer. Deng Tong nodded to the God Eater clan expert and said, "Brother Yikian, Yang Xiaoshan is the person our clan leader wants. Our clan leader asked me to bring him back to the Divine Shadow clan." Hearing this, the God Eater clan expert shook his head. "Yang Xiaoshan is the person our soul ancestor wants. He killed our young clan leader. Our soul ancestor ordered me to bring him back." The soul ancestor said that he would personally use a soul needle to pierce his danshan and heart. Just as the two were arguing, Yang Xiaoshan suddenly said, "You two should have more than 20 million years of divine medicine on you, right?" The two were startled. Deng Tong was about to speak when suddenly the sky darkened. He looked up and saw the huge Dingyi that blocked out the sun and instantly bombarded him with terrifying golden flames. Sensing the terrifying destructive power of Dingyi, he was horrified and slapped out with his palm without thinking and activated the phantom divine body, and his whole body became transparent and ethereal. The face of the master of the god of food also changed drastically, and he displayed the devouring divine body while frantically urging the divine power, and suddenly blasted Dingyi with the palm. But the two saw that Dingyi instantly blasted away the palm power of the two. Then, there was a loud bang that shook the sky. The two felt that their eyes darkened, and the whole person was blasted away. Although Yang Xiaoshan knew that in the years since entering the god's domain, Dingyi had been swallowing the Hunyuan heavenly tribulation thunder water and the heavenly Dao holy water, and his strength recovered very quickly, which was far from what it was when he first entered the god's domain. But seeing Ding Yi blasted away the two peak god emperors with one blow, he still couldn't hide his amazement. However, Yang Xiaoshan was more and more curious about what realm Ding Yi would reach after he regained all his strength. Yang Xiaoshan came to Deng Tong and the other man. They were lying on the ground, barely breathing. They looked at Ding Yi beside Yang Xiaoshan in horror. At this time, Ding Yi had shrunk countless times and was floating beside Yang Xiaoshan. He did not have the aura of destroying the world just now, but they looked at Ding Yi with only fear in their eyes. The heaven and earth divine sword appeared in Yang Xiaoshan's hand. Yang Xiaoshan, I am. When Deng Tong wanted to show that he was a disciple of the founder of the Shadow Clan, Yang Xiaoshan swung the heaven and earth divine sword in his hand. Suddenly, a column of blood was thrown up, and Deng Tong's head rolled to the ground. Yang Xiaoshan's eyes were cold. To him, it didn't matter who the other party was, and he didn't want to know. Then, Yang Xiaoshan looked at Shi Yiqian of the God of Food clan. Shi Yiqian was horrified. Yang Xiaoshan, whatever you want to know, I will tell you. Yang Xiaoshan swung the heaven and earth divine sword in his hand. Shi Yiqian's head flew up. Blood dyed the ground of the land of death red. Yang Xiaoshan searched for the space artifacts on the two people, and then burned the bodies of the two people with a divine fire. Afterwards, Yang Xiaoshan continued to fly towards the Death Sword formation. On the way, he opened two space artifacts. When Yang Xiaoshan opened Deng Tong's space artifact, suddenly, a surge of pure and incomparable divine medicine power roared out. In addition to a lot of natural treasures, there were also a lot of heavenly holy water, mixed origin heavenly tribulation thunder water and a 30 million year old divine medicine in his space artifact. The surging and incomparably pure divine medicine power just now was emitted by this 30 million year level divine medicine. The Divine Emperor and the Divine Lord generally use 20 million year old divine medicines for cultivation, and those above the Divine Emperor almost all use 30 million year old divine medicines for cultivation. Although there was only one 30 million year old divine medicine in the other party's space artifact, Yang Xiaoshan was still surprised. The power of 30 million year old divine medicine is far from comparable to 20 million year old. With this 30 million year old divine medicine, he can save 100 years of hard work. Afterwards, Yang Xiaoshan opened the space artifact of Deng Tong of the Divine Shadow Clan with great expectation. However, what disappointed Yang Xiaoshan was that, although there were a lot of heavenly Dao holy water and chaos spirit stones in Deng Tong's space artifact, there was number 30 million year old divine medicine. Not to mention 30 million years, there was not even 20 million years. It seems that the Divine Shadow Clan is poorer than the God Eater Clan. The two of them had a total of 60 or 70 mouthfuls of heavenly Dao holy water, and Yang Xiaoshan gave half to Uncle Ding. A few days later, Yang Xiaoshan came to the Death Sword formation. Under the protection of Uncle Ding, he walked into the Death Sword formation, and then came to the Sword Realm space of the Sword formation and sat down, and began to comprehend and merge. In less than a month, Yang Xiaoshan completely comprehended the Sword Realm in the Death Sword formation and successfully merged it. However, in order for his tail-long Sword Realm to break through the realm of small success, he still needs to merge a Sword Realm. The next sword formation was very far from the land of death, so Yang Xiaoshan was not in a hurry to go to the next sword formation. Instead, he took out more than a dozen 20 million year old divine medicines from Shishian Hong and others in the sword formation and began to swallow them for cultivation. Now, Yang Xiaoshan's refining speed has increased again. In just 4 months, he can refine a 20 million year old divine medicine. When he refined the 5th divine medicine, his whole body glowed brightly, and he successfully broke through to the 6th level of the Lord of God. Yang Xiaoshan did not stop, and continued to refine the remaining divine medicines. When he refined the 14th divine medicine, he finally sensed the barrier of the 7th level of the Lord of God. He urged his divine power in one fell swoop, blasted open the barrier of the 7th level of the Lord of God, and successfully broke through to the 7th level of the Lord of God. After Yang Xiaoshan refined all the 20 million year old divine medicines on his body, he barely broke through to the middle stage of the 7th level of the Lord of God. Seeing that he had to refine all the 20 million year old divine medicines before he broke through to the 7th level of the Lord God, Yang Xiaoshan was somewhat speechless. Originally, he expected that 14-20 million year old divine medicines would allow him to break through to the 7th level of the Lord God, but now he had to refine 2 more to break through to the 7th level of the Lord God. At this rate, if he wanted to break through to the peak of the 10th level of the Lord God, wouldn't he need nearly 120 million year old divine medicines? Yang Xiaoshan took out the only 230 million year old divine medicines left on his body. Looking at the 230 million year old divine medicines in front of him, he took a deep breath and swallowed one of them. Suddenly, the power of this 30 million year old divine medicine turned into a raging flood, bombarding his body. The power of the 30 million year old divine medicine is more than 10 times that of the 20 million year old divine medicine. Yang Xiaoshan once again felt as if his whole body was about to burst. He did not hesitate and quickly operated the 4 major techniques to refine the power of the 30 million year old divine medicine. The power of the 30 million year old divine medicine was indeed very strong. After continuously transforming into divine power, Yang Xiaoshan's strength increased at an astonishing speed and soon broke through to the peak of the 7th level middle stage of the Divine Lord. Then, the 7th level late stage of the Divine Lord, the peak of the late stage, the 8th level Divine Lord. After refining the 30 million year old divine medicine, he finally broke through to the peak of the 8th level early stage of the Divine Lord. Chapter 929 Entering the Land of Demon Ancestor. Seeing that he had broken through to the peak of the early 8th level of the Lord of God, Yang Xiaoshan continued to swallow the last 30 million year old divine medicine. Yang Xiaoshan's strength continued to advance by leaps and bounds. Soon, he broke through to the middle 8th level of the Lord of God. Then, the peak of the middle 8th level of the Lord of God, the late stage. After Yang Xiaoshan finished refining the second 30 million year old divine medicine, he finally stopped at the peak of the late 8th level of the Lord of God. Half a step away, he can break through the 9th level of the Lord of God. Yang Xiaoshan exhaled a big breath. Although he did not break through the 9th level of the Lord of God, he had the Hunyo and Destiny divine fruit, the Hangmeng divine fruit, and the holy water of heaven, so he could break through the 9th level of the Lord of God within a year. Yang Xiaoshan did not leave the sword formation, but continued to sit cross-legged in the sword formation, and began to condense the law of chaos. Now, he has to induce the golden rain of the power of heaven 3 times in a row. A month later, Yang Xiaoshan condensed 1.2 million laws, and began to induce the first golden rain of the power of heaven. The golden rain of the power of heaven fell from the sky, and continued to merge into his body. Yang Xiaoshan's chaos body devoured the heavenly power eagerly. 4 days later, the heavenly power golden rain ended. Yang Xiaoshan continued to condense 1.2 million chaos laws. The second heavenly power golden rain was triggered. After integrating the second heavenly power, Yang Xiaoshan's chaos body finally broke through the 14th level. The fifth 10,000 feet god began to condense. The chaos god condensed around Yang Xiaoshan's body, and together with the god of time, the god of destiny, the god of Hangmeng, and the god of origin, he exuded amazing power. The overwhelming chaos power continued to emerge. Under the overwhelming chaos power, the sword energy around the sword formation was all blown away. After the second heavenly power golden rain ended, Yang Xiaoshan continued to condense 1.2 million chaos laws. The third heavenly power golden rain was triggered. After integrating the third heavenly power, Yang Xiaoshan's chaos body barely broke through to the 16th level. However, the power of heavenly Dao can only allow the heaven-defying divine body to break through to the peak of the late 17th level at most. So this time, the power of heavenly Dao did not have much effect on the other 4 divine bodies. Of course, under the tempering of the power of heavenly Dao, Yang Xiaoshan's physical body, soul power, Danshan, divine veins, and divine sea were all strengthened again. Now, even if Yang Xiaoshan does not activate the power of the 5 divine bodies, his physical strength has reached a terrifying level. With the power of his physical body alone, he can kill many divine kings with one punch. Not bad, not bad. Feeling the changes in Yang Xiaoshan's body, Uncle Ding smiled and said, when you break through the 10th level of the Lord God, your chaos divine body should be able to break through the peak of the late 17th level. Yang Xiaoshan nodded. When he breaks through the 10th level of the Lord God, with the help of the power of Heavenly Deo, his Chaos Divine body should be able to break through to the peak of the late 17th level. However, to break through the 18th level, he can only rely on the Chaos spiritual veins to practice. After inducing the power of heaven 3 times, Yang Xiaoshan practiced in the sword formation for a few days, before flying out of the sword formation, and driving the vast sea boat, to continue flying to the second sword formation at a high speed. As long as he refines the second sword domain, his Tailong sword domain can break through to the small success state. Sitting cross-legged in the vast sea boat, Yang Xiaoshan swallowed 2 divine fruits to practice. However, this vast sea boat was moving left and right, which was really speechless. Therefore, we have to continue looking for vast sea divine iron to repair the remaining gaps. Wait until we reach the land of demon ancestors, go to the vast sea to look for it, said Uncle Ding. Yang Xiaoshan nodded. Liang Li found a huge piece of vast sea divine iron in the vast sea of the land of demon ancestors, and then created the vast sea boat and the vast sea harp. However, the vast sea is very dangerous, with countless sea ghosts living there, and it is full of restrictions everywhere. Even the Supreme may be killed if he enters it carelessly. Half a month later, Yang Xiaoshan came to the second sword formation, then entered the sword formation, and began to comprehend and integrate the second sword domain. A month later, when he successfully comprehended and integrated the second sword domain, his Tailong sword domain finally broke through the realm of minor success. So far, his 3 sword domains of heaven and earth, infinite, and Tailong have all broken through the realm of minor success. After the Tailong sword domain broke through the realm of minor success, Yang Xiaoshan continued to rush to the third sword formation. After refining the sword domain of the third sword formation, he rushed to the fourth sword formation without stopping. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was refining the sword domain of the prehistoric continent sword formation without stopping, the God Eater clan and the God Shadow clan were also looking for Yang Xiaoshan all over the world. Not only the God Eater clan and the God Shadow clan, but also the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan, the Hell Demon clan, and even the Heavenly Emperor Palace were looking for Yang Xiaoshan. It was naturally not a good thing for the Heavenly Emperor Palace to look for Yang Xiaoshan. At that time, after Li Feng was defeated by Yang Xiaoshan in the Eternal Ancient Emperor Palace, he returned to the Heavenly Emperor Palace and cried to his master, Emperor Han Meng, and accused Yang Xiaoshan of several major crimes. When he was on the road, Yang Xiaoshan did not stay in some cities, so he did not know about these things. 2 years later, Yang Xiaoshan finally comprehended and integrated all the sword fields of the dozen sword formations mentioned by his master and senior brothers. After integrating more than a dozen sword fields, Yang Xiaoshan's 8 sword fields of heaven and earth, Wuliang, Tailong, Mingai, Kangshan, Tangshan, Shadow, Kaienfo, successfully broke through to the realm of minor success. Only 7 sword fields are left, and all can break through the realm of minor success. 7 sword fields. Yang Xiaoshan said. When he arrived at the Sword Kingdom in the land of Demon Ancestor, he found all the sword formations of the 14 sword fields, and then his 7 sword fields could all break through the realm of minor success. Immediately, Yang Xiaoshan did not hesitate, and drove the vast sea boat to the land of Demon Ancestor at a high speed. The land of Demon Ancestor, also known as the Demon Ancestor continent, is very far away from the primordial continent. Even if Yang Xiaoshan used the Chaos Spirit Stone to drive the vast sea boat, it would take half a year to reach the Demon Ancestor continent. On the way, Yang Xiaoshan sat cross-legged in the spaceship, continued to swallow the 2 great divine fruits to practice, and at the same time, swallowed the true essence of the Dragon Pearl of the beginning dragon, and worked hard to improve the Teiku Shilingju. While looking for the dozen sword formations mentioned by his master and senior brother, he had successfully broken through the 9th level of the Lord of God, and successfully condensed 1.2 million laws, triggering the 9th power of the Heavenly Deo. After fusing the 9th golden rain of the Heavenly Deo, Yang Xiaoshan's Chaos Divine body had broken through the 17th level. Now, there are about 20 years left before the Battle of Shyandao Mountain. 20 years. As long as he finds the Time Divine Tree and the Origin Divine Tree, and uses the 4 great divine fruits to practice, he should have no problem breaking through to the peak of the late 10th level of the Lord of God in these 20 years. And with the time divine fruit and the origin divine fruit, his 5 great divine bodies will be expected to practice to the 19th level within 20 years. Therefore, he must find the time divine tree and the origin divine tree. There was no trouble along the way. Half a year later, the demon ancestor continent was finally in sight. Yang Ocean stood at the bow of the spaceship, looking at the vast and boundless continent in front of him, which was burning with heavy demonic energy. The demon ancestor continent has finally arrived. After a moment, the vast sea boat passed through the layers of demonic energy and entered the demon ancestor continent, then flew towards the burial god cliff at high speed. He was now eager to gather the remaining 2 time divine monuments. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 930, The Living Dead Birth from the God Burial Cliff. It was already dusk when Yang Ocean arrived at the burial god cliff. The demon ancestor continent was originally shrouded in demonic energy and without sunlight. The burial god cliff at dusk was filled with demonic energy. In the rolling demonic energy, there was a strange blood-red mist flowing, which made the burial god cliff even more terrifying and evil. The burial god cliff was dead silent. Occasionally, a bird with death and demonic energy flew out from the grayness with a flutter. These dark birds were corpse-eating beasts. They flew very fast, had long sharp beaks, and claws as sharp as blades, covered in blood. It was unknown whether they were alive or dead. Yang Ocean put away the boat of the vast sea, and flew forward carefully. He saw coffins suspended on many cliffs in front of him. Some of these coffins were very large, exuding an astonishing death and demonic energy, which made people feel cold at the sight of them. God Burial Cliff. Uncle Ding looked at the god burial cliff in front of him, and his face was also complicated. Over the years, how many gods and demons have been buried here? There is a mysterious power in the god burial cliff. It is said that the gods and demons buried here have the hope of being resurrected. Uncle Ding, it is said that the gods and demons buried here have the hope of being resurrected, but is it true? Yang Ocean asked. Uncle Ding shook his head. Even the time power of your eternal divine body cannot revive others. No matter how strong the power of the god burial cliff is, it is impossible to revive the gods and demons buried here. At this point, it looked at the coffins of various sizes buried on the edge of each cliff. If these dead demons and gods can really walk out of their coffins one day, then they are no longer the demons and gods of the past. They are just a living dead. Living dead. Yang Ocean frowned, looking at these coffins suspended in the air, and vaguely understood what Uncle Ding meant. If these living dead walk out of the coffins one day, it will definitely be a terrifying thing. Uncle Ding said in a deep voice. Yang Ocean's heart tightened. Only those who are above the level of God Emperor are qualified to be buried in the burial cliff. When the demon ancestor continent was formed, the burial cliff existed. Since then, there have been strong people above the level of God Emperor buried here one after another. To this day, no one can count how many gods and demons are buried here. If these gods and demons become living dead and come out of the coffins, it will definitely be a terrible disaster for the demon ancestor continent. No, not only a terrible disaster for the demon ancestor continent, even for the god realm, it is a terrible disaster. Many of those who can be buried here are extremely amazing strong people in various eras. Some of them were even the supreme demons who were the best in the world during the prehistoric period, and some were even the ancestors of some ancient gods. Thinking that one day these demon gods might walk out of the coffins, Yang Ocean always felt a thump in his heart when he looked at these coffins suspended in the air. For some reason, he always felt that these coffins seemed to be shaking. There is wind blowing, so these coffins are of course moving, said Mr. Ding. Yang Ocean sweated. Is this the reason? As he flew forward, he sensed the time monument. Now, he had 10 time monuments, and he could sense the existence of other time monuments within a wide range. But a few days had passed. He still hadn't sensed the time monument. Along the way, he had killed countless corpse-eating beasts. Those corpse-eating beasts flew in groups, and at a very fast speed, which was extremely annoying. And at night, there were even more of them, so dense that they almost covered the night sky of the burial god cliff. So at night, Yang Zai Ocean basically chose a cave to rest for a night and continued to look for the time monument during the day. That night, Yang Zai Ocean was drinking wine from the Hang Hean restaurant in the cave, flipping through the skills left by the saint ancestor of the demon clan, when suddenly, there was a sound of breaking through the air, and there was a faint voice of a human disciple. Although the burial god cliff was dangerous and evil, some of the coffins that buried many gods and demons contained supreme skills, secrets and artifacts, so human disciples often came to open the coffins to search for treasures. However, these coffins have many restrictions set by the powerful demon gods. Those who try to open the coffins to search for treasures will die. Very few people can get treasures from these coffins. I wonder if you have heard about the shocking battle that took place in the demon pond a few days ago. Almost the entire demon ancestor continent knows about that shocking battle. Some people say that the blood demon ancestor fought with a woman. I heard that the blood demon ancestor was defeated, and it was a miserable defeat. What? The blood demon ancestor was defeated? What is the origin of this woman? The voices of the human disciples discussing came faintly. Yang Zai Ocean was surprised when he heard it. The blood demon ancestor is the ancestor of the Yinshan blood demon clan, one of the 10 ancestors of the god realm, and is as strong as Huang Zhao, the ancestor of the eternal god kingdom. How could he be defeated by a woman? I heard that the blood demon ancestor called her Miss Meng. Some people saw Miss Meng from a distance and were shocked by her beauty. She was extremely beautiful and breathtaking. The voice of the human disciple came again. Yang Zai Ocean was stunned. Miss Meng. He couldn't help but think of the sleeping beauty Meng Bingsu. Could it be Miss Meng Bingsu? Where did this Miss Meng come from? She was able to defeat the blood demon ancestor? The voices of the human disciples continued to come. I don't know where she came from. Some people guess that she may be related to the Lord of Destiny, because when she fought against the blood demon ancestor, she used the Fate Prisoner Finger. The Fate Prisoner Finger is the unique skill of the Lord of Destiny. Several human disciples left. Yang Zai Ocean fell into deep thought. He always felt that it should be Miss Meng Bingsu who fought against the blood demon ancestor, but what he didn't expect was that Meng Bingsu actually knew the Fate Prisoner Finger of the Lord of Destiny. Uncle Ding, does the Lord of Destiny have disciples? Yang Zai Ocean asked. Of course the Lord of Destiny has disciples, Uncle Ding said mysteriously, but Miss Meng is not one. Not. Yang Zai Ocean was puzzled. After finding the time monument and going out, he planned to inquire more about the battle between Miss Meng and the blood demon ancestor. Nothing happened overnight. The next day, Yang Zai Ocean continued to look for the time monument. As he continued to go deeper into the burial cliff, the demonic energy, death energy and evil energy became thicker and thicker. The deeper he went, the stronger the strength of the buried demon gods was. Although these demon gods were dead, their residual power was still there. Therefore, the deeper he went, the stronger the oppression of these coffins became. Yang Zai Ocean looked at the coffins that stretched to the end of the sky and the corpse-eating beasts in the sky, and flew forward more carefully. On this day, as night fell, Yang Zai Ocean suddenly sensed a familiar force of time. After a start, Yang Zai Ocean was overjoyed. This familiar force of time was undoubtedly emitted by the Monument of Time. Just as Yang Zai Ocean flew towards the Monument of Time, suddenly, he saw a coffin suspended in the air in front of him shaking violently. Is it the wind blowing? But he immediately saw that not only that coffin was shaking violently, but all the coffins around it were shaking violently. Yang Zai Ocean looked in shock and saw that all the coffins he saw were shaking violently. It seemed that something was about to come out of these coffins. Could it be? Yang Zai Ocean's face changed drastically. Chapter 931, Surpassing the Dark Sky Demon Lord. These living dead are about to be born. Uncle Ding's voice rang out in a hurry. Quick, take the time monument. Take the time monument first. The living dead are born. Yang Zai Ocean's heart trembled. Those buried here are all above the God Emperor. If all these living dead above the God Emperor come out of the coffin, he will die. Uncle Ding can't protect him either, because Uncle Ding's injuries have not recovered yet. Thinking of this, Yang Zai Ocean instantly activated the 5 great divine bodies, and the real dragon wings behind him stretched out. He turned into a stream of light, and rushed towards the direction of the time monument with all his strength. Wherever he passed, it brought a terrifying storm. Even so, Yang Ocean had just rushed out not far, and suddenly, a huge coffin in front of him suddenly exploded, and a terrifying force swept. A tall figure rushed out of the huge coffin. This tall figure, the aura on his body, is much stronger than Deng Tong, who is at the peak of the God Emperor. Obviously, this is a strong man who has surpassed the God Emperor. When this figure rushed out of the coffin, it rolled up an amazing hurricane, which swept across the world and hit the surrounding mountains and Yang Ocean. Break. Yang Ocean did not hesitate, and activated the realm of the 15 swords. The god of the realm appeared, and swung out the sword of heaven and earth and the infinite sword in his hand. The light of the god of the realm surged, and the sword power of the realm of the 15 swords hit the hurricane. There was a loud bang. The hurricane was blasted through. The real dragon wings behind Yang Ocean spread out, and passed through the place where the hurricane was blasted through. Just when Yang Ocean was about to bypass the tall figure, suddenly the tall figure roared to the sky, and made a strange howl. The howl formed a terrifying sound wave, which shook Yang Ocean's mind. Immediately afterwards, the tall figure suddenly slapped Yang Ocean with a palm. This tall figure, from the outside, looked no different from a living person, but when he slapped out his palm power, it was all terrifying death and corpse ki. The terrifying palm power of death and corpse energy shook the heaven and earth, and blasted towards Yang Ocean. The opponent was an existence beyond the God Emperor. His palm power was so strong that it instantly blasted the defense world formed by Yang Ocean's 5 divine bodies. Even the dark, light and chaos of the chaotic divine body could not resist the opponent's palm power. Just as the palm power hit, Ding Yi soared into the sky, his whole body covered with golden flames, and instantly blasted through the terrifying palm power, and blasted on the opponent's chest. The tall figure was blasted through the mountains. Let's go. Ding Yi protected Yang Ocean and said hurriedly, get the time monument first. Yang Ocean frantically urged all his strength, and rushed to the time monument again, as if he was desperate. No matter what, he had to get the time monument before all these living dead were born. Otherwise, when all these living dead were born, he had no hope of escaping. And there would be even less hope of getting the time monument next time. Bang! Suddenly, the lid of a huge coffin in front of him exploded, and another powerful being rushed out of the coffin. When this powerful being rushed out of the coffin, the surrounding space was shaken. The aura of the other party was even stronger than that of the living dead just now, and it was more than 1 point stronger. A mouthful of heavenly holy water. Ding Yi roared. Yang Ocean immediately gave Ding Yi a mouthful of heavenly holy water. Ding Yi's whole body was full of golden flames, illuminating countless spaces in the burial god cliff. Boom. Ding Yi blasted the powerful being away again. Chaos Sky Sword. Just as Ding Yi blasted the other party away, Yang Ocean swung a sword. 21.6 million chaos laws were activated. The sword body burst out with a terrifying chaos sword light, and the power of the 15 sword domains condensed into a sky supporting sword pillar, which blasted through the amazing storm that the other party had just condensed. However, just as Yang Ocean passed through the amazing storm, suddenly, several coffins in front of him exploded again, and several figures flew out. Each of these 4 beings is much stronger than the one just now. The further inside, the stronger the living dead Yang Ocean will encounter. Kill. Uncle Ding roared, give me 2 mouthfuls of heavenly holy water. Yang Ocean gave Uncle Ding 2 mouthfuls of heavenly holy water. Uncle Ding's golden flames surged again, and blasted away the 4 living dead blocking the way in front. Yang Ocean continued to rush desperately to the time monument. In this way, Uncle Ding consumed the heavenly holy water all the way, constantly blasting away the resurrected living dead. Yang Ocean gradually approached the time monument. Suddenly, there was a loud roar, and a terrifying airwave rushed from the end of the front, and a living dead with a terrifying aura rushed towards Yang Ocean. This living dead turned out to be a master of the Nether Demon clan. Underworld Demon Lord. Yang Ocean remembered a certain existence. Underworld Demon Lord is the existence second only to the ancestor of the Underworld Demon clan, and his strength is not weaker than the sole ancestor of the God Eater clan. Underworld Demon Lord is also buried in the burial god cliff. 20 mouthfuls of heavenly Deo holy water. Ding Yi roared. 20 mouthfuls? Exclamation mark. Although Yang Xiaoshan felt distressed, he did not hesitate and immediately gave Ding Yi 20 mouthfuls of heavenly Dao holy water. After Ding Yi swallowed 20 mouthfuls of heavenly Dao holy water, mysterious avenue runes appeared on the body of the cauldron, and he blasted against the Dark Sky Demon Lord with unmatched power. The Dark Sky Demon Lord was blasted to the end of the burial, and after a long time, a loud sound of shaking the sky was heard. Dead. Yang Xiaoshan looked at the end of the sky. Not dead, just seriously injured. Ding Yi said. Seeing that Ding Yi's powerful blow was only seriously injured, Yang Xiaoshan was shocked. Afterwards, Ding Yi blasted away dozens of living dead, and Yang Xiaoshan finally came to the time monument. He saw that the time monument was inserted on the cliff in front. This cliff was a little different from the cliffs he encountered along the way. It was taller and bigger. There was no coffin, but it was filled with a cold and gloomy air that made people palpitate. At this time, the roars from behind kept approaching. It was obvious that the living dead were approaching from behind. Yang Xiaoshan no longer hesitated and flew to the front of the time monument. The eternal divine body was in operation, and the power of time wrapped around the time monument and suddenly lifted the time monument up from the ground. When the time monument was lifted up from the ground, suddenly, the entire cliff began to collapse, and the terrifying cold air sprayed out from the bottom of the cliff like a volcanic eruption. The heaven and earth shook. The endless space of the burial god cliff was trembling. Yang Xiaoshan was shocked. He retreated quickly with the time monument. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was retreating quickly, suddenly, a gloomy and terrifying withered hand stretched out from the bottom of the cliff. The law of the King of Chaos? Leave it to me. The power of this gloomy and terrifying withered hand was stronger than that of the Dark Sky Demon Lord. 30 mouthfuls of heavenly Dao holy water. Ding Yi roared. Yang Xiaoshan gave Ding Yi 30 mouthfuls of heavenly Dao holy water. Ding Yi's avenue runes reappeared on his body, and he collided with the withered hand again. Boom. The terrifying power swept. The surrounding cliffs were all collapsed. Yang Xiaoshan pushed the 5 divine bodies to the extreme, put away the time divine tablet, and continued to retreat rapidly, but the power of Ding Yi and the opponent's bombardment was too terrifying. They caught up with Yang Xiaoshan in an instant, and bombarded him like a raging flood. Chapter 932. I don't know what's happening at the God Burial Cliff now. Yang Xiaoshan looked at the overwhelming destructive force coming at him, and before he could think too much, he used his martial soul's innate skill, space concealment, and instantly disappeared from the spot. Over the years, he had swallowed countless amounts of Hunio and Xianji Thunder Water and Xiandao Holy Water, and his 2 martial souls were constantly improving. Now, as his martial soul improved, the power of his martial soul's innate skill, space concealment, became stronger, and it completely merged with the space, and the whole person entered the depths of space. However, just as Yang Xiaoshan hid in the depths of space, the overwhelming destructive force instantly hit him. Under the bombardment of the overwhelming destructive force, the space of thousands of miles was shaking violently. Yang Xiaoshan felt that he was hit by an invisible terrifying force, and the whole person fell down from the depths of space again, opened his mouth, and a mouthful of blood spurted out. Yang Xiaoshan looked at the skinny hand in shock. Just now, it was just the aftermath of the opponent and Mr. Ding's power. But even if he hid in space and entered the depths of space, he still couldn't stop the residual power. This person's strength is probably far beyond many ancestors. Even if he is not as strong as the 10 great ancestors such as the ancestor of the eternal god kingdom, he is probably not much different. Who is this person? It seems that he is not dead yet. Why is he buried in this burial cliff? Let's go. After Uncle Ding and the other party blasted the sky, he immediately turned into a golden flame to protect Yang Xiaoshan. Yang Xiaoshan immediately drove the vast sea boat with all his strength, turned into a stream of light, tore through the void, and continued to break through the air outside the burial cliff. Now more and more living dead are resurrected from the coffin. If he delays for 1 more minute, he will be in more danger. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was flying madly outside the burial cliff, the skinny hand that was just blasted back by Uncle Ding stretched out of the ground again with blood. Obviously, the opponent was already seriously injured by Uncle Ding's blast just now. However, the opponent did not give up and grabbed Yang Xiaoshan again. Leave it to me. The skinny hand crossed the void, passed through the defense formation of the vast sea boat, and probed behind Yang Xiaoshan. Yang Xiaoshan, who was flying fast in front, felt a withered hand behind him grabbing him, and felt a chill on his back. Just as the other party grabbed him, the golden flames on Ding Li's body surged. Bang! The other party grabbed the golden flames, and was shocked and bounced back. Yang Xiaoshan only felt a force rushing him forward, but he was not injured this time. Yang Xiaoshan frantically urged the 5 heaven-defying divine bodies, all the divine veins, and all the power of the laws of chaos, and poured all his strength into the formation of the vast sea boat, and flew out of the burial god cliff at a high speed. The skinny hand behind him still did not give up, and kept chasing behind. In addition to the skinny hand, more and more living dead people were resurrected from the coffin, and Yang Xiaoshan was attacked more and more, and his speed was greatly affected. Yang Xiaoshan estimated that, even if he used his strength to drive the vast sea boat formation, fly at full speed, and use all his strength, it would take half a day to get out of the burial god cliff. Half a day. Yang Xiaoshan felt the withered hand and the group of living dead chasing him, and his face darkened. He only had 300 or 400 mouthfuls of heavenly Dao holy water on him now, and he didn't know if it would last until he left the burial god cliff. So, from now on, if he could not use heavenly Dao holy water, he would not use it, and heavenly Dao holy water should be used sparingly. Fortunately, the time monument has been obtained, and if Master Ding was just defending, he would not need to use much heavenly Dao holy water. After enduring dozens of attacks from the withered hand, Master Ding's golden flame dimmed, and he drank a mouthful of heavenly Dao holy water, protecting Yang Xiaoshan, and continuing to fly outside the burial god cliff. Faster. Faster. Yang Xiaoshan discarded other thoughts, and the only thought now was to leave the burial god cliff first. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was driving the spaceship forward at a high speed, suddenly, a scream rang out, and several sect disciples in the distance were besieged by the living dead, and some were torn in half. Those sect disciples were the ones Yang Xiaoshan met last night who were talking about the battle between Meng Bingsu and the blood demon ancestor. Save me. One of the disciples saw Yang Xiaoshan and shouted. But as soon as he finished speaking, he was crushed alive by the claws of the living dead. In the blink of an eye, several people died without a complete corpse. Yang Xiaoshan did not stop for a moment, and flew out at a very fast speed. Along the way, he encountered many sect and family disciples being surrounded and killed by the living dead. These sect and family disciples were disciples of some super forces in the demon ancestor continent. They were extraordinary in strength, but facing the siege of these living dead, no one could escape. Even if there were beings among them who surpassed the God Emperor, they were still killed by the living dead. These beings were all overlords and strong men. They were killed by the living dead and died miserably. When they were killed, their faces were unbelievable. They did not expect that they would die in the burial cliff. Although Ding Yi did not need to use much heavenly Dao holy water for defense, under the pursuit of the skinny hand behind him, Yang Xiaoshan's heavenly Dao holy water was getting less and less. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was getting closer and closer to the outer edge of the burial god cliff, suddenly, a cold snort sounded from the deepest part of the burial god cliff waste. The cold snort sounded like the explosion of chaos thunder. Then, a grey giant hand condensed out of thin air. This grey giant hand spanned many spaces, and came to the sky above Yang Xiaoshan in the blink of an eye. The grey giant hand was full of death, and it was condensed from countless dead heads. The grey giant hand grabbed Yang Xiaoshan, and the space was shaking. The power was many times stronger than the skinny hand. After swallowing 2 mouthfuls of heavenly Dao holy water, the golden flames on his body shone again, and the Dao runes on the body of the tripod faintly condensed into a Dao formation. Bang! The grey giant hand grabbed onto the golden flames of the Ding Yi, and the Dao runes of the Ding Yi shone into the sky, shaking the grey giant hand apart. A surprised exclamation came from the deepest part of the burial god cliff. Obviously, the other party did not expect that the Ding Yi could shake his nether ghost hand apart. After repelling the opponent's attack, Master Ding continued to protect Yang Xiaoshan and fly outside the burial god cliff. But the grey giant hand condensed again, and it was even bigger and stronger. However, it was still dispersed by Master Ding. After several times, the grey giant hand finally disappeared. But the skinny hand and the group of zombies were still chasing him. An hour later, the zombies chasing Yang Xiaoshan were so dense that there was no end in sight. After half a day, Yang Xiaoshan came out of the burial god cliff and almost fainted. He looked back and saw that the zombies behind him were pouring out like a tide. Yang Xiaoshan did not dare to stay and drove the vast sea boat to leave the burial god cliff at a high speed. The sky darkened. Finally, the zombies behind were completely thrown away. Seeing this, Yang Xiaoshan breathed a sigh of relief and then used the Chaos Spirit Stone to drive the vast sea boat while he sat cross-legged in the spaceship and swallowed the heavenly Dao holy water to recover from his injuries. A day later, under the amazing recovery power of the heavenly Dao holy water and the 5 divine bodies, Yang Xiaoshan recovered from his injuries. I wonder what's happening at the burial god cliff now. Yang Xiaoshan looked in the direction of the burial god cliff, his heart sinking. A day had passed, and the living dead in the burial god cliff were probably all resurrected. At this moment, they might have already rushed towards the Empire and the demon sect around the burial god cliff. Chapter 933, God's realm is not peaceful. If all the living dead in the burial god cliff rush out of the burial god cliff, the demon ancestor continent will bear the brunt, and will soon become a purgatory on earth. Therefore, he must find the last piece of the time monument as soon as possible. Find the last piece of the time monument before the demon ancestor continent becomes a purgatory on earth. Yang Xiaoshan did not stop and continued to drive the vast sea boat to the demon pool at full speed. Thinking of the skinny hand and the grey giant hand, Yang Xiaoshan felt heavy. The skinny hand seemed to have the power of time when it was moved. I wonder what the relationship is with the Lord of Time. As for the master behind the grey giant hand, I don't know what his origin is. That grey giant hand is the Nether Ghost Hand. Few people in the God realm practice the Nether Ghost Hand. The Nether Ghost Hand is the unique skill of the Nether Ghost Gate of Hell, said Uncle Ding. Nether Ghost Gate. Yang Xiaoshan's eyes condensed. The Nether Ghost Gate is the strongest force in the Hell Ghost realm, and its status in the Ghost realm is equivalent to that of the Heaven and Earth God Mansion in the God realm. Since the other party knows the Nether Ghost Hand, could it be the ancestor of the Nether Ghost Gate? Only the founder of the Nether Ghost Gate has such a terrifying power. It shouldn't be the founder of the Nether Ghost Gate. Uncle Ding said, his strength is still higher than that of the Nether Ghost Gate. This person was seriously injured and has not recovered yet. Otherwise, you and I may not be able to leave the burial god cliff today. Yang Xiaoshan was shocked. No wonder the opponent did not attack again after Uncle Ding dispersed several attacks. However, the opponent was injured and was so terrifying. If the injury is recovered, how strong will he be? Since this person's strength is still higher than the founder of the Nether Ghost Gate, and he can use the Nether Ghost Hand, who is this person? The God realm is not peaceful, Uncle Ding said. Yang Xiaoshan was in a very heavy mood. A demon of chaos and the God Eater clan have already made the God realm chaotic enough. I didn't expect that such a terrifying demon would appear now. This demon's strength is probably higher than that of the demon of chaos. He still has to improve his strength as soon as possible. Although he has 2 Chaos King Godheads and 5 heaven-defying divine bodies, his combat power is amazing, but his realm is still too low. Even if he can now sweep through the realms of God Lords and God Kings, it is still not enough to face those God Emperor level overlords. Not to mention those strong men who have surpassed the God Emperor. Originally, Yang Xiaoshan felt that he could completely break through the realm of God King before the Battle of Shyandao Mountain, but now, he feels that time is not enough. On the way to the demon pool, when passing through some cities, Yang Xiaoshan stopped for a while. In addition to buying magic medicine to make pills, he also asked for news. Sure enough, after entering the city, he found that everyone was talking about the resurrection of the living dead in the burial cloth of gods. Everyone was terrified and panicked. Many sects and families are even moving their entire families. After all, this place is not far from the burial cloth of gods. The Holy Demon Empire has been breached by the living dead in the burial cloth of gods. Even the imperial capital has been breached. The Holy Demon Emperor was directly killed, and even the most powerful army of the Holy Demon Empire could not stop the living dead for 10 breaths. A master of the demon sect said in a trembling voice. The Holy Demon Empire was not far from the God burial cliff, so it was the first empire to be conquered. Although the Holy Demon Empire was not one of the strongest empires in the Demon Ancestor continent, it was also extremely powerful. Among the many empires in the Demon Ancestor continent, it was enough to be among the top 100. But in just one day, the entire empire became a living hell. In addition to the Holy Demon Empire, the 100 Demon sect was also destroyed. Corpses were everywhere and blood flowed like a sea. The ancestor of the 100 Demon sect died too tragically. His head was directly twisted off. What do you think? Will the God Eater clan, the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan and the Hell Demon clan take action to kill these living dead? The God Eater clan and the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan are all cannibals. They won't dare to kill you. Everyone was talking about it. Those living dead seem to be heading to the Devil Transformation Pond. What? Going to the Devil Transformation Pond? Why go to the Devil Transformation Pond? Is there any rare treasure in the Devil Transformation Pond? Yang Xiaoshan was shocked to hear that the living dead were actually heading to the Devil Transformation Pond. After hastily buying a large number of magic medicines, he did not bother to ask Meng Bingsu about the news and drove the spaceship to continue to rush to the Devil Transformation Pond. Although he did not know why these living dead were heading to the Devil Transformation Pond, he had to find the last time monument before these living dead arrived at the Devil Transformation Pond. With only the last time monument left, he could gather all the time monuments. With Yang Xiaoshan's full drive, the vast sea boat turned left and right towards the Devil Transformation Pond. 10 days later, Yang Xiaoshan arrived at the Devil Transformation Pond. The Devil Transformation Pond was surrounded by mountains, and the Devil Transformation Pond was in the middle of the mountains. Yang Xiaoshan landed on a peak around the Devil Transformation Pond and looked down. He saw the magic energy in the Devil Transformation Pond steaming, and the amazing magic energy actually condensed into various kinds of demon spirits. These demon spirits have a strong aura, and there are probably tens of millions of them. What is even more frightening is that these demon spirits are completely condensed from the supreme demon energy of the demon transformation pool. They cannot be killed at all, and the deeper you go, the stronger the demon spirits become. There was once a supreme peak strongman who wanted to enter the bottom of the demon transformation pool to find a treasure, but was finally surrounded and killed by these demon spirits. That was a supreme peak strongman, an existence infinitely close to the master, and he died in the demon transformation pool. You can imagine how dangerous the demon transformation pool is. When Yang Xiaoshan arrived, the surrounding mountains were already full of masters from all major forces in the demon ancestor land. Recently, it was reported that there was a peerless treasure to be born in the demon transformation pool, so masters from all major forces in the demon ancestor land rushed here. Yang Xiaoshan activated the power of the time monument and sensed the last time monument, but he found that there was a force covering the surface of the demon transformation pool, and he could not sense the location of the last time monument at all. However, the living dead are constantly approaching here, and they should be here in 2 days. Therefore, within 2 days, he must find the last time monument. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was about to explore the devil pool, suddenly, the crowd was in turmoil. The masters of the God Eater clan and the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan are here. Yang Xiaoshan looked over and saw a large group of masters coming from afar. They were masters of the God Eater clan and the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan. It's Shi Xiangxin and Lin Wei. Someone exclaimed. The leader of the God Eater clan was Shi Xiangxin, Shi Xianhang's younger brother. The leader of the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan was Lin Wei. Yang Xiaoshan had not seen Lin Wei since the apprenticeship ceremony. It had been more than 20 years since he saw Lin Wei again. More than 20 years had passed, and Lin Wei's aura was much stronger than before. He was wearing the battle robe of the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan, and was followed by a large number of powerful men from the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan. He looked majestic. Lin Wei was flying towards the devil pool with a group of masters from the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan, and suddenly saw a blue-shirted figure standing on a distant mountain peak. Looking at this familiar figure, Lin Wei was stunned for a moment, and then his eyes burst with strong murderous intent. Yang Xiaoshan! Yang Xiaoshan! Exclamation mark. The God Eater clan, the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan, and the powerful people from the mountains around the demon transformation pool all looked at Yang Xiaoshan. Yang Xiaoshan, the son of chaos? There was an uproar at the scene. Chapter 934. Will he be drowned? Yang Ocean's fame has now spread throughout the god realm, so when they heard that the young man in blue was the son of Chaos, the young master of the heaven and earth god palace, the scene was shocked. The god eaters and silver sky blood demons all shot out shocking killing intent. Yang Ocean watched the god eaters and silver sky blood demons shoot out shocking killing intent and flew towards the masters of the god eaters and silver sky blood demons. Seeing Yang Ocean flying over, Shi Xiangxin, Lin Wei and others were startled, and their faces changed drastically. In the hall of the Eternal Imperial Palace, even the god eaters of the God Emperor realm died at the hands of Yang Ocean, and the strongest of the two tribes who came this time was only a god emperor. And it was only the first level of god emperor. Just as the masters of the god eaters and silver sky blood demons changed their faces and retreated, suddenly, a sound of breaking through the air was heard in the distance, and a large group of dark figures flew over from a distance at a high speed. These dark figures exuded a terrifying death aura. Seeing these dark figures, some of the ancestors at the scene changed their faces. Living dead. How come the living dead are here so fast? Yang Ocean was also shocked. According to the information he received, the living dead would arrive at the Devil Transformation Pool at least 2 days later. How come they arrived so early? Seeing the figure in the front, Yang Ocean's heart sank. The leader of this group of living dead was the Dark Sky Demon Lord. Behind the Dark Sky Demon Lord were hundreds of living dead. The auras of these living dead were extremely strong, not much weaker than that of the Dark Sky Demon Lord. Obviously, the Dark Sky Demon Lord and his hundreds of people came to the Devil Transformation Pool first. 2 days later, the large army of living dead will arrive one after another. It's the Dark Sky Demon Lord. Many ancestors at the scene also recognized the Dark Sky Demon Lord, and their faces were horrified. In the ancient times, the Dark Sky Demon Lord was already fierce and powerful. Let's go. After recognizing that it was the Dark Sky Demon Lord, many strong men who were originally waiting for the treasure of the Devil Transformation Pool to be born fled in fear, but some ancestors were still a step slower. The hollow-eyed Otherworldly Demon Lord instantly clawed out, and several ancestors were caught by his claws and turned into blood mist. Go. Seeing this, everyone fled in fear, even the God Eater clan and the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan fled in panic. With the horror of the Otherworldly Demon Lord, only Soul Ancestor and others could resist it. No matter how many people there were, they would die. The Otherworldly Demon Lord clawed at the space where Yang Ocean was. Yang Ocean did not hesitate, hiding in space, and then, with the protection of Ding Yi, flew to the Demon Transformation Pool. Boom. With a loud noise, the Otherworldly Demon Lord's claws missed and grabbed on the distant mountain peaks. The distant mountain peaks were crushed by the claws, and countless rubbles also fell into the Demon Transformation Pool. When Yang Ocean fell to the Demon Transformation Pool, a shocking demonic energy rushed towards him like an endless wave. These demonic energies could actually penetrate the space. Even if he hid in the depths of the space, it was useless. Yang Ocean did not hesitate, and activated the 5 divine bodies. Wearing the sun god armor, he suddenly punched out, and the 6 divine fires turned into 6 torrents, and collided with the demonic energy. There was a bang. The demonic energy was blasted away, and Yang Ocean's figure was exposed from the depths of space. Suddenly, thousands of demons in the sky above the Devil Transformation Pool rushed towards Yang Ocean, as if they had smelled Tang Monk's meat. Yang Ocean attacked with all his strength, but there were too many demons, and they could not be killed at all. After Yang Ocean punched out and blew up dozens of demons around, these demons turned into demonic energy, surged, and condensed again. Your 5 divine bodies must break through the 19th level to severely injure these demons. Ding Yi said, or you can find the chaos level divine fire. Ignore these demons for now, and find the last piece of the time god monument first. The last piece of the time god monument. Yang Ocean nodded, and then did not entangle with these demons again, and then flew to the bottom of the Devil Transformation Pool. However, the further he flew, the more amazing the demonic energy in the demonic pond became. Moreover, this demonic energy was pervasive, and could penetrate into the defense world formed by his 5 divine bodies. After this demonic energy penetrated into the defense world of the 5 divine bodies, it stained his sun god armor, and even the sun god flame was dimmed. Yang Ocean's heart sank. The demonic energy in the demonic pond was even more terrifying than he had imagined. Even his 5 divine bodies could not resist it. It seemed that the defense of his 5 divine bodies was still weak. He had to cultivate his 5 divine bodies to the 19th level as soon as possible. After cultivating to the 19th level, the 5 divine bodies would transform again, and their defense, strength and speed would all skyrocket. At this time, a figure suddenly followed Yang Xiaoshan and flew down to the demonic pond. The breath was amazing. Yang Xiaoshan turned around and saw that it was the Dark Sky Demon Lord. The empty eyes of the Dark Sky Demon Lord looked at Yang Xiaoshan without life and suddenly slapped down with a palm. A huge magic palm broke through the heavy magic energy of the demon transformation pool and slapped to the back of Yang Xiaoshan. Wherever the magic palm passed, some demons were blown up. Even some demons that had condensed heavy magic light could not resist its magic palm. Bang! The magic palm slapped on Yang Xiaoshan's back, but it was blocked by the golden light of Lording. Even so, Yang Xiaoshan was still blasted to the demon transformation pool at a high speed. The Dark Sky Demon Lord was still chasing him. Just like this, Yang Xiaoshan and the Dark Sky Demon Lord kept falling to the surface of the demon transformation pool one after another. After blasting away countless demons, Yang Xiaoshan finally saw the surface of the demon transformation pool through the heavy magic energy. But just when Yang Xiaoshan saw the surface of the demon transformation pool, suddenly, a skinny hand crossed the heavy time and space and suddenly grabbed the demon transformation pool. Countless demons were grabbed and exploded by the skinny hand. Feeling the terrifying force that was falling down, Yang Xiaoshan turned his head and saw the skinny hand of Zhang Shenaya coming to kill him, and his face changed. Boom. The moment the skinny hand hit Yang Xiaoshan, the golden flame of Dingai surged. Yang Xiaoshan felt his whole body suddenly shaken, and he smashed into the devil transformation pond like a meteorite. Bang! With a loud bang, the surface of the devil transformation pond was blown away, and countless grey-black pool water splashed for an unknown number of feet. The demonic energy was boiling, and millions of demon spirits roared incessantly, and the sound resounded through countless miles of space. Even the powerful people who had escaped to a very far distance heard the roar of millions of demon spirits. When Yang Xiaoshan smashed into the devil transformation pond, the boiling demonic energy and magic water in the devil transformation pond instantly penetrated his divine body defense, and the sun god flame was dim. Endless demonic energy and magic water poured into Yang Xiaoshan's ears, eyes, mouth, and even the pores of his body. Yang Xiaoshan was horrified to find that in the devil transformation pool, all his powers could not function. Not only the 5 divine bodies, but even the power of the Chaos Godhead and the Chaos Law could not function. He was like a mortal who could not swim at all, falling into a deep sea full of demonic energy. As the endless demonic energy and magic water poured into his mouth, Yang Xiaoshan's brain was deprived of oxygen and he could not exhale. Would he be drowned in this devil transformation pool? An absurd thought flashed through Yang Xiaoshan's mind. Chapter 935. 12-time monuments gathered. It is hard to believe that a master of the divine realm is going to be drowned, but if this continues, Yang Xiaoshan may really be drowned in the devil transformation pool. Yang Xiaoshan tried to use the yellow spring magic art and the chaos devouring heaven art to devour the power of these magic energy and magic water, but found that he could not use any power at all, nor could he use any skills. I don't know what kind of magic power the magic water in the devil transformation pool has, but it has such a terrifying power that it can not only seal all the power of a person, but also make it impossible for a person to use any skills. Just when Master Ding was about to take action to isolate all the magic energy and all the magic water, suddenly, the light of the death tree on Yang Xiaoshan's body vibrated violently. The death tree emitted a strange light. Attracted by this strange light, the magic energy and magic water that entered Yang Xiaoshan's body instead flowed towards the death tree. Gurgle. As the magic energy and magic water continued to flow into the death tree made a gurgling sound. And it was gurgling continuously. After each gurgling, the death energy of the death tree became stronger, and the death tree continued to grow at a speed visible to the naked eye. Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. In recent years, he rarely used the death tree to practice, because he had to practice the 5 great divine bodies. He didn't expect that the death tree had such a magical effect that it could devour the magic energy and magic water of the devil transformation pool. Even Master Ding was surprised. Although the death tree was magical, it should not be able to devour the magic energy and magic water of the devil transformation pool. Moreover, Yang Xiaoshan found that after the death tree continued to devour the magic energy and magic water of the devil transformation pool, his whole body strength recovered. At this time, a familiar time force came from the bottom of the devil transformation pool. Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. Undoubtedly, this time force was emitted by the last piece of the Time God monument. Immediately, he flew to the last piece of the Time God monument. However, the resistance of the devil transformation pool was extremely large. Yang Xiaoshan was like being trapped in a super quagmire. He couldn't go faster, even if he wanted to, and was only slightly faster than ordinary people. After Yang Xiaoshan entered the devil transformation pool, the skinny hand and the dark sky demon lord hovered over the pool for a long time, and finally had to fly away and return to the surrounding mountains. After the arrival of other living dead, they continued to kill the powerful people who were fleeing. As more and more living dead continued to pour in, the mountains around the devil transformation pool were all surrounded by living dead. Under the devil transformation pool, when Yang Xiaoshan was flying towards the monument of time, suddenly, there was a flash of light in front of him. Yang Xiaoshan looked and saw a strange shaped lotus growing on the mountain wall below the devil transformation pool. The lotus was completely black and exuded the same demonic energy as the devil transformation pool. It was the devil transformation lotus that Yang Xiaoshan was looking for when he accepted the mission of the Heaven and Earth Divine Mansion. Yang Xiaoshan couldn't hide his joy and came to the devil transformation lotus. When he wanted to pull up the devil transformation lotus, suddenly, an extremely small black snake flew out from the lotus body of the devil transformation lotus. The black snake opened its huge mouth and swallowed Yang Xiaoshan. A bloody smell hit his nose. Yang Xiaoshan was startled. He didn't expect that there was such a black snake attached to the demon lotus. When the other party opened its bloody mouth, its teeth were completely black, obviously a highly poisonous creature. However, just when the other party bit Yang Xiaoshan, it was directly blown away by the golden light of Master Ding. After being blown away, the other party seemed to be fine, turned into a black magic light, and disappeared into the demon pool. What kind of snake is this? Yang Xiaoshan asked in surprise. Primordial dark snake. Master Ding said, this kind of snake is very rare, has extremely strong defense, and is extremely poisonous. It is one of the most poisonous creatures in the world. Yang Xiaoshan nodded, thinking back to the danger just now, and cold sweat broke out on his back. Since there is this primordial dark snake in the demon pool, he has to be more careful. Yang Xiaoshan pulled out the demon lotus, put it away, and continued to fly to the location of the time monument. After flying for a while, Yang Xiaoshan found another demon lotus on the mountain wall in front of him. Moreover, this demon transformation lotus is even bigger than the previous one, and has reached the level of tens of millions of years. The demon transformation lotus is not only an important divine medicine for refining divine pills, but can also be swallowed directly for cultivation. It is difficult for others to swallow and refine it directly, but he has the Chaos Dark Godhead and the Yellow Spring Divine Art, and can completely refine this demon transformation lotus. It's just a pity that the demon transformation lotus of tens of millions of years can be almost ignored for Yang Xiaoshan now. Yang Xiaoshan carefully observed it and made sure that there was no demon transformation lotus and the great desolate underworld snake. Then he pulled it out and put it away. Don't worry, the great desolate underworld snake is very rare, and there should be only that one in the demon transformation pool, said Uncle Ding. Yang Xiaoshan continued to fly forward. To his surprise, it didn't take long before he saw another demon transformation lotus. And this demon transformation lotus is bigger than the previous two. The deeper you go, the bigger the demon transformation lotus is, and the older it is. Yang Xiaoshan looked into the depths of the demon transformation pond with hope. Maybe there really was a 20 million year demon transformation lotus in the demon transformation pond, or even a 30 million year one. Sure enough, not long after, Yang Xiaoshan found another demon transformation lotus. This demon transformation pond seemed to be a paradise for the reproduction of demon transformation lotuses. This demon transformation lotus reached the level of 20 million years. Finally, when Yang's Ocean came to the time monument, he collected 7 demon transformation lotuses along the way. 2 of them were 20 million years old, and 1 was 30 million years old. Yang's Ocean activated the eternal divine body and pulled up the time monument. The last time monument was finally gathered. When he refined this last time monument, he would be able to find the whereabouts of the time tree. However, Yang's Ocean was not in a hurry to refine the last time monument. Instead, he collected it and continued to search in the demon transformation pond to see if he could find more demon transformation lotuses. Sure enough, half a month later, after he had almost walked through every corner of the demon transformation pool, he found another 30 million year demon transformation lotus. With these 2 30 million year demon transformation lotuses, Yang's Ocean will have a chance to break through the 10th level of the Lord of God. However, what puzzled Yang's Ocean was that after the prehistoric snake escaped, where did it go? Moreover, the living dead flocked to the demon transformation pool, as if waiting for some treasure to be born, but he did not find anything abnormal in the demon transformation pool. Yang's Ocean did not leave the demon transformation pool immediately. He sat down cross-legged and began to refine the last piece of the time god tablet in the demon transformation pool. Soon, the last piece of the time god tablet was refined. The 12 time god tablets gathered around his body, constantly rotating, surging with heavy time power. Yang's Ocean's mind was immersed in the time-space constructed by the power of the 12 time god tablets. Pictures kept flashing in his mind. These pictures were all pictures of the Lord of Time looking for the time god tree. Yang's Ocean followed these pictures and finally saw the time god tree. The divine tree of time stands tall among a sea of stars, gushing with infinite time power and golden light. Everything in the world becomes eternal around it. Chapter 936, Battle of God's Domain. The moment he saw the time tree, Yang's Ocean knew where it was. The time tree was on the demon ancestor continent. After finding the location of the time tree, a profound technique appeared in Yang's Ocean's mind. It turned out that the Lord of Time had imprinted the complete time divine art on the 12 time divine tablets. As long as the 12 time divine tablets were gathered together, the complete time divine art could be obtained. After a while, Yang's Ocean withdrew his mind, collected the 12 time divine tablets, and came to a mountain wall at the end of the demon transformation pool. Just now, when he was deducing the power of the time divine tablets, he sensed that there was another space hidden in the mountain wall at the end of the demon transformation pool. When he came to the mountain wall, he saw a small hole in the mountain wall, and wind was constantly pouring in from the other side of the hole. Yang's Ocean used his power to hit the mountain wall suddenly, but found that the mountain wall was not moving at all. This mountain wall has been constantly tempered by the power of the Devil Pond. After countless years, it has become indestructible. Even the God Emperor cannot shake it. Uncle Ding said, "Let me do it." After that, Uncle Ding flew out and kept spinning. Every time he spun, rocks would splash out. Soon, the mountain wall, that was hundreds of meters thick, was drilled through by Uncle Ding. Yang's Ocean passed through the cave drilled by Uncle Ding and came to a small world that was like a paradise. Here, there are birds singing, flowers blooming, spiritual springs and waterfalls, and all kinds of magical creatures live. Some flowers, some trees, and even some beasts, all of which Yang's Ocean had never seen before. This small world is huge and endless. The whole space is filled with a force that blocks the demonic energy and magic water outside. Looking at the small world in front of him, Yang's Ocean was stunned. Who would have thought that there is such a mysterious small world at the end of the Devil Pond? This small world should have been opened up by someone. I don't know who can open up such a small world at the bottom of the Devil Pond. Yang's Ocean flew forward, and after flying for several days, he came to the end of this small world. At the end of the world, there stood a palace. There were 4 words written on the gate of the palace. Hangmengdao Palace. Yang's Ocean read. Hangmengdao Palace had appeared in the wilderness, but he didn't expect there was one here. I didn't expect that Hangmeng Kid also stayed here. Ding Yi's voice sounded. Yang Xiaoshan came to the gate of Hongmeng Palace and found that there were also restrictions on it. Then he tried to use the power of Hongmeng God Body to push it open. Sure enough, the gate of Hongmeng Dao Palace opened. When Yang Xiaoshan pushed open the gate of Hongmeng Dao Palace, an extremely rich origin aura gushed out. Yang Xiaoshan was startled. He looked and saw a pile of origin divine fruits piled on the jade table in the hall. There were at least 300 or 400 origin divine fruit. Yang Xiaoshan was very surprised. Originally, he thought that there would be a lot of Hongmeng Qi in the Hongmeng Dao Palace, because he got a lot of Hongmeng Qi in the Hongmeng Dao Palace in the wilderness last time, but there was no Hongmeng Qi, but there were a lot of origin god fruits. In addition to being surprised, Yang Xiaoshan couldn't help but wonder, could these origin god fruits be obtained by Hongmeng Taoist in the origin Dao Palace? These origin god fruits should be what Hongmeng Kid asked for from Yuan Qi Kid. Uncle Ding said, the two of them are from the same school. From the same school. Hongmeng Taoist and Yuan Qi Taoist are brothers. This is simply explosive news. Hongmeng Taoist and Yuan Qi Taoist are undoubtedly one of the most mysterious existences in the martial spirit world. Who would have thought that the two would be brothers? Over the years, Yang Xiaoshan has read a lot of books, but no book mentioned this. Yang Xiaoshan came to the origin god fruit and couldn't hide his joy. With so many origin god fruits, his origin god body can completely break through the 18th level. It is even expected to break through the middle or late stage of the 18th level. Yang Xiaoshan put away all the origin god fruits and looked at other places in the hall. There were many words on a stone wall in the hall, but the words were covered by the forbidden power and could not be seen clearly. Yang Xiaoshan thought about it and still used the power of the Hongmeng divine body and pressed his palm on it. Suddenly, the stone wall shone brightly. The words on it lit up and stood out clearly. Hongmeng divine art. Yang Xiaoshan read. With excitement, Yang Xiaoshan read it word by word. It took a whole incense stick of time for Yang Xiaoshan to finish reading the entire Hongmeng divine art. According to the above, as long as you have the Hongmeng divine body, you can practice this Hongmeng divine art. If you have the Hongmeng divine fruit to practice with, you can practice with half the effort. With this Hongmeng divine art, he is more confident that he can practice the Hongmeng divine body to the 19th level before the battle of Xiandao Mountain. But the Hongmeng art in front of him is only the upper half. With only the upper half, he can only practice the Hongmeng divine body to the 20th level. When his Hongmeng divine body is practiced to the 20th level, he still has to find the other lower half. Hongmeng Kid's master is in the chaos domain. When you go to the chaos domain, you should be able to find the second half of the Hongmeng divine art, said Uncle Ding. Chaos domain? Yang Xiaoshan wrote it down. Immediately, Yang Xiaoshan began to practice this Hongmeng divine art in the hall. Perhaps because his Hongmeng divine body was already at the 18th level, he was able to practice the Hongmeng divine art very easily. Afterwards, Yang Xiaoshan practiced the time divine art of the time monument, and also practiced it very easily. Afterwards, Yang Xiaoshan tried to operate the Hongmeng divine body and the time divine art at the same time. At first, they couldn't operate at the same time, but after a few days, Yang Xiaoshan was able to operate the two major divine arts at the same time. Then, Yang Xiaoshan added the destiny divine art. After half a month, he was able to operate the time divine art, the destiny divine art, and the Hongmeng divine body at the same time. Finally, Yang Xiaoshan added the Teiku Shilangju. When the four major techniques could operate at the same time, Yang Xiaoshan tried to add the fifth technique, but it was still unsuccessful. In the end, he had to give up, and could only practice these four techniques. Yang Xiaoshan took out a large piece of chaos spirit stone, sat cross-legged on it, swallowed the three great divine fruits, and operated the four great skills. With the current four great skills, his refining speed almost doubled. Next, Yang Xiaoshan practiced in the hall by swallowing the 30 million year demon transformation lotus. After he completely refined the two 30 million year demon transformation lotuses, he finally broke through the 10th level of the Divine Lord. Yang Xiaoshan did not continue to practice and left the demon transformation pool through the space channel of the Hongmeng Dao Palace. At this time, there were only a dozen years left before the Battle of Shenandoah Mountain, but before the Battle of Shenandoah Mountain, there was also the Battle of the Divine Realm. Only after participating in the Battle of the Divine Realm and winning the top 100 could you participate in the Battle of Shenandoah Mountain. Now there are only a few years left before the Battle of the Divine Realm. Banhei. Yang Zai Ocean drove the boat of the Hanhei Sea and came to the Hanhei Sea at a very fast speed. He learned from the monument of the time god that the divine tree of time was in the Hanhei Sea. When passing by a certain city, Yang Zai Ocean found that many disciples were discussing this battle of the divine realm. Since there were so many people who signed up for the battle of the divine realm, registration has now begun. I heard that the young patriarch of the Divine Shadow Clan and the 10 young emperors of the Heavenly Emperor Palace have already signed up for the battle of the divine realm. And the young patriarch of the Divine Shadow Clan, Deng Yuanming, is already at the 3rd level of the Divine Emperor. What? The 3rd level of the Divine Emperor? Then won't he be able to take first place in this battle of the Divine Realm? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 937 Vortex Restricted Area. Not only Deng Yuanming broke through the 3rd level of the Divine Emperor, but even the young Emperor Zhang Long of the Heavenly Emperor Palace also broke through to the 3rd level of the Divine Emperor, and his strength is not inferior to Deng Yuanming at all. And young Emperor Zhang Long has cultivated the Divine Emperor's magic to the 19th level, which is simply unparalleled in the history of the world. Even the primordial Heavenly Emperor praised this disciple endlessly. Everyone was talking. 10 Heavenly Emperors have joined the Heavenly Emperor Palace, and their disciples are called Young Emperors. Zhang Long is the direct disciple of the primordial Heavenly Emperor and the leader of the Young Emperors of the Heavenly Emperor Palace. Although Li Feng, who previously competed with Yang Zai Ocean in chess, is amazing in chess, he is far from being comparable to Zhang Long in terms of strength. Among the disciples who signed up for the Heaven and Earth Divine Mansion this time, the strongest one is called Niheng, who is only in the late 2nd level of the Divine Emperor. I'm afraid that the Heaven and Earth Divine Mansion will not be able to win the 1st place in the God Realm battle this time. Let alone the 1st place in the God Realm. I'm afraid there is no hope of even the top 3. Yang Zai Ocean Redoubt, Zhang Long, Deng Yuanming. In addition to discussing the God Realm battle, the streets and alleys are also discussing the living dead in the Burial God Cliff. The living dead in the Burial God Cliff are still killing people everywhere. In the past few years, all the empires, sects and demon sects around the Burial God Cliff have been wiped out. When the living dead were mentioned, everyone's faces were full of surprise. Then, everyone talked about the living dead surrounding the Devil Transformation Pond a few days ago. I heard that the living dead caught a primitive dark snake in the Devil Transformation Pond. I don't know if it's true or not. Primordial dark snake. What do they want the primitive dark snake for? Many ancestors were shocked when they heard about the primitive dark snake. Who knows, these living dead seem to be collecting the most poisonous and evil things in the world in the past few years. The living dead are collecting the most poisonous and evil things in the world. Yang Zai Ocean was puzzled. Then, he asked some intelligence organizations for news about Meng Bingsu, but those intelligence organizations didn't know where Meng Bingsu was. Now, if anyone could know the whereabouts of Meng Bingsu, I'm afraid it would only be the ancestor of the Yinshan Blood Demon Clan. Yang Zai Ocean drove the spaceship to continue flying towards the vast sea. On the way, he condensed the lore of the King of Chaos and triggered the power of the 10th Heavenly Dao. After integrating the power of the 10th Heavenly Dao, Yang Zai Ocean's Chaos Divine Body finally broke through to the peak of the late 17th level. It was 2 months later that Yang Zai Ocean came to the vast sea. The vast sea was dark blue, blue to purple, and quiet. Under the dim light, it looked very strange, and from time to time there were strange cries coming out of the vast sea, which made people shudder. These strange cries were like human and ghost, with sharp sounds that could constantly penetrate into people's souls. This was the sound of the water ghost in the vast sea. After a pause, Yang Zai Ocean flew up and fell into the vast sea. As soon as he fell into the vast sea, Yang Zai Ocean felt that he was being stared at by something, and it was following him, but he turned his head and couldn't see anything. Yang Zai Ocean unfolded his soul power and didn't find anything unusual. However, when he continued to fly forward, the feeling of being stared at by something appeared again. This is a water ghost. The water ghosts in the vast sea are terrifying. They are invisible and breathless. They cannot be seen or touched by the naked eye at ordinary times. Only when they are possessed by water ghosts will they show their shape. This is the weirdness and horror of water ghosts. Moreover, once these water ghosts possess you, they will drill into your sea of mind and even occupy your soul. It is difficult to expel or destroy them. Once they cannot be killed or expelled, they will be sucked to death by these water ghosts. In addition, there are restrictions everywhere in the vast sea, so few disciples dare to come to the vast sea. Yang Zai Ocean looked at it and saw no one on the quiet and weird surface of the vast sea. As Yang Zai Ocean continued to fly deeper into the vast sea, more and more invisible water ghosts followed him, in groups, and there were probably hundreds of them. And the deeper they went, the stronger these water ghosts became, and the more difficult they were to deal with. These water ghosts followed behind Yang Zai Ocean, and they were not in a hurry to take action. They were waiting. In the vast sea, that strange cry continued to drill into Yang Zai Ocean's soul. Although Yang Zai Ocean's soul was extremely strong, he felt dizzy after the strange cry continued to drill into the sea of souls. And the dizziness became stronger and stronger. Just when Yang Zai Ocean was drowsy, suddenly, the hundreds of water ghosts behind him swarmed up and instantly rushed behind Yang Zai Ocean. Seeing that all these water ghosts were about to rush into Yang Zai Ocean's body and drill into Yang Zai Ocean's sea of souls, suddenly, Yang Zai Ocean's divine flames surged, and the 6 divine fires flew out. Suddenly, there were loud noises, and shrill screams came one after another. Hundreds of strange monsters were seen burning under the 6 divine fires, revealing their bodies and struggling. But soon, they were burned clean by the 6 divine fires. Ordinary divine fires could not kill these water ghosts at all, but Yang Zai Ocean had 6 divine fires, and these water ghosts could not resist the power of the 6 divine fires. Yang Zai Ocean put away the 6 divine fires, and continued to fly deep into the vast sea. Soon, another large number of water ghosts followed Yang Zai Ocean. These water ghosts escaped very quickly, so Yang Zai Ocean only attacked when they were extremely close. However, the deeper into the vast sea, the stronger these water ghosts became. Even if the 6 divine fires were activated at the same time, it was sometimes difficult to kill them, and they could only be seriously injured. Finally, Yang Zai Ocean put on the sun god armor. A few days later, Yang Zai Ocean came to a deserted island in the vast sea. It was very close to the time god tree. Not far away, there was a vortex restricted area. Passing through the vortex restricted area was the time god tree. Just as Yang Zai Ocean landed on this deserted island, suddenly, there was a sound of breaking through the air. Yang Zai Ocean immediately hid his body, and then he saw a large group of black coffins floating in the distance. These black coffins were bloody and branded with blood red runes, which was very terrifying. Seeing these black coffins, Yang Zai Ocean was surprised. Ancient tomb black coffins? The ancient tomb demon sect is an extremely evil sect. It is one of the 10 super demon sects in the demon ancestor continent, and is on par with the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan. Since the disciples of the ancient tomb demon sect practiced the ghost gate technique and lived in coffins all year round, they usually carried their own coffins when they went in and out. Inside these black coffins were the disciples of the ancient tomb demon sect. What were these disciples of the ancient tomb demon sect doing here in the vast sea? However, since it was none of his business, Yang Zai Ocean did not follow them. The next day, when the sky was bright, Yang Zai Ocean continued on his way. Half a day later, he finally arrived at the vortex restricted area. I saw that the surface of the vast sea in front of me was constantly rotating, forming a huge vortex area. This vortex area is tens of thousands of miles in radius, and the tearing force is terrifying. Even the Supreme will be torn into pieces if he enters. It is a death zone that everyone is afraid of. With the protection of Master Ding, Yang Zai Ocean flew through the vortex. Bang! As soon as he passed through the vortex, an invisible tearing force enveloped Yang Zai Ocean, and even Master Ding's golden light shield was torn and deformed. Chapter 938, Collecting the Time Tree. However, although the power of the vortex restricted area was strong, it was still unable to tear apart the protective light shield of Master Ding. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was about to continue to fly deeper into the vortex, suddenly, a skinny hand passed through the void and suddenly hit Yang Xiaoshan from behind. The power of the skinny hand was even stronger than when it was at the burial god cliff. Yang Xiaoshan felt the amazing power, turned his head in shock, and saw the skinny hand that was coming to kill him. Damn. The moment he saw the skinny hand, Yang Xiaoshan couldn't help but curse inwardly. This skinny hand is simply haunting, and it actually chased after him when he came to the vast sea. How did the other party know that he came to the vast sea? Boom. The skinny hand's powerful force hit Master Ding's golden light shield. Suddenly, the golden light shield shook continuously, and the light dimmed. At this time, the tearing power of the vortex restricted area hit the golden light shield again, and the golden light shield was actually torn apart. Although it only tore a crack, the terrifying power of the vortex forbidden area instantly blasted towards Yang Xiaoshan from the crack. Ding Yi's whole body swelled up, dispersing the power of the forbidden area, and at the same time roared, "Go!" Yang Xiaoshan did not hesitate, and exerted the full power of the 5 divine bodies, rushing into the vortex forbidden area frantically. As soon as he rushed into the vortex forbidden area, the skinny hand blasted towards him again, and this time the power was stronger. The whole skinny hand was surging with dazzling golden light, directly tearing open the vortex of the vortex forbidden area, and hitting Ding Yi's light shield. There was another earth-shaking sound. Ding Yi's light shield was blasted dim again. Yang Xiaoshan slid forward at a high speed due to the bombardment. In this way, under the continuous pursuit of the skinny hand, Yang Xiaoshan finally rushed through the vortex forbidden area and came to a starry sky. Under the starry sky, there was an amazing power of time. Yang Xiaoshan has an eternal divine body, so he is naturally not afraid of the power of time. He continues to fly forward. What makes him feel relieved is that the skinny hand seems to be concerned about the power of time in this starry sky and does not continue to chase. But Yang Xiaoshan feels that the other party did not leave, but waited outside for him to go out. Yang Xiaoshan was confused. Who is this skinny hand? Its strength is not weaker than the 10 great ancestors of the god realm, but he thought about the 10 great ancestors that exist in the god realm, and no one can match it. However, even such a powerful person still has to obey the master of the burial god cliff. While flying, Yang Xiaoshan paid attention to the changes around the starry sky. Fortunately, there was no danger along the way. After passing through many layers of power of time, he finally came to the deepest part of the starry sky. In the deepest part of the starry sky, there is a sea of stars suspended. A sea of stars completely condensed by the starry water. The starry water is a natural treasure comparable to the thunder water of the primordial heavenly tribulation. The 10,000 feet tall time god tree stood on a piece of land as big as an island between the stars, spewing out the power of time, condensing into rivers of time, and countless time spirits entwined, and flew between the trees. Dozens of lovely time god fruits had grown between the branches and leaves. Looking at the time god tree and the dozens of time god fruits in front of him, Yang Xiaoshan could not suppress his excitement. No one in the world could achieve eternal life, but he, who had the eternal god body, had the hope of achieving eternal life. However, the premise was that he had the time god tree. If he had the time god tree, he would have the hope of cultivating the eternal god body to the true eternal realm. First, take the time god tree. Uncle Ding was also happy and said, take the time god tree, and when you reach the kingdom of swords, cultivate the remaining 7 sword realms to the realm of minor success. Yang Xiaoshan was excited. With the time god tree, the Hunyu and destiny god tree, and the Hangmen god tree, his eternal god body could completely break through the 19th level within 10 years. The remaining ones were the origin god body and the chaos god body. As long as he gets enough origin divine fruit, his origin divine body will be able to break through the 19th level. And he has the chaos spiritual vein, so it is not a problem for the chaos divine body to break through to the 19th level within 10 years. Master Ding, is there an origin divine tree in the origin Dao Palace? Yang Xiaoshan asked. There are origin divine fruits in the Origin Deo Palace, but there is no origin divine tree. Master Ding said, when you go to the Chaos Domain, to find the second half of the Hangmeng Divine Art, you can look for the Time Origin Divine Tree. The Origin Divine Tree is in the Chaos Domain. Yang Xiaoshen's heart moved. It should be. Master Ding said. It is not 100% sure. After all, it does not know everything in the world. Then, Yang Xiaoshen began to collect the Time Divine Tree. Yang Xiaoshen flew to the island in the center of the Star Sea, tried to activate the power of the Eternal Divine Body, and then approached the Time Divine Tree. What made Yang Xiaoshen feel relieved was that the Time Divine Tree did not attack him after sensing the power of the Eternal Divine Body on him. Yang Xiaoshen successfully arrived in front of the Time God Tree, and then stretched out his hand and pressed on the trunk of the Time God Tree. At the same time, he activated the power of the Eternal God Body, slowly penetrated into the Time God Tree, and began to refine the Time God Tree. Although Yang Xiaoshen had the Eternal God Body, it still took several days to refine the Time God Tree. After refining the Time God Tree, Yang Xiaoshen could sense the breathing of the Time God Tree and any subtle changes in the Time God Tree. Thinking that the skinny hand was still guarding outside, Yang Xiaoshen summoned the Hunio and Destiny God Tree and the Hangmeng God Tree together, and then sat cross-legged under the 3 major trees, swallowed the Time God Fruit and the 4 major divine fruits to practice. He did not activate the Ancient Dragon Art, but activated the Chaos Swallowing Heaven Art, the Time God Art, the Destiny God Art, and the Hangmeng God Art to practice. A year later, Yang Xiaoshen's Eternal God Body, the Origin God Body, and the Chaos God Body also broke through to the 18th level. So far, all of his 5 major bodies have broken through the 18th level. 10,000 feet of gods were surging around his body. The amazing power continued to sweep over. As Yang Xiaoshen swallowed the 4 divine fruits and practiced, his strength was also steadily improving, approaching the peak of the early 10th level of the Lord of God. After all 5 divine bodies broke through the 18th level, Yang Xiaoshen did not continue to practice, but collected a group of divine trees, and took away the island that nurtured the Time Divine Tree and the surrounding sea of stars. Yang Xiaoshen did not go out, but flew deeper. He felt that there was a space channel left by the Lord of Time at the end of this space, which could leave the vast sea. However, just as Yang Xiaoshen flew deeper into the galaxy, suddenly, he saw a familiar metallic light in front of him. It was a vast sea divine iron. And it was a large piece of vast sea divine iron. It was much larger than the one he bought at the Duobao Chamber of Commerce. With such a large piece of vast sea divine iron, the gap in his vast sea boat can be completely repaired, and he no longer needs to fly left and right. At that time, the speed of the vast sea boat can be much faster. Before Yang Xiaoshen arrived at the vast sea divine iron, he did not move away, but summoned the vast sea boat, and repaired the gap in the vast sea boat's hull on the spot. Chapter 939, Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan's Lair. As the vast sea divine iron was continuously melted into the vast sea boat, the gap in the vast sea boat continued to shrink, and was finally completely repaired. Yang Xiaoshen tried to drive the vast sea boat again. Suddenly, the vast sea boat turned into a ray of time, tearing through the void and instantly disappeared from the spot. Its speed was several times faster than before. Yang Xiaoshen drove the vast sea boat with all his strength, and rushed to the end. The repaired vast sea boat was extremely stable and completely silent. Yang Xiaoshen finally stopped suffering from the bumps. The long-lost smooth pleasure reappeared. After arriving at the end of this space, there was indeed a space channel. Yang Xiaoshen left through the space channel. After coming out of the space channel, he had already arrived at the periphery of the vast sea. This time, the skinny hand will not chase him again, right? Yang Xiaoshen drove the vast sea boat to the Kingdom of Sword at a high speed. Considering that the previous journey might have been leaked because of staying in the city, Yang Xiaoshen did not stay in the city this time, and rushed to the Kingdom of Sword without stopping. There are many sword formations in the Sword Realm that were born in the Sword Country. As long as he can find these sword formations, comprehend them, and integrate them, he can completely cultivate all the remaining 7 sword realms to the state of minor success. Moreover, the Chaos Demon Lord's cave in the Demon Ancestor continent is in the Sword Country. he can just look for the Chaos Demon Lord's cave. Although this cave in the Demon Ancestor continent is only a temporary place for the Chaos Demon Lord to practice, there should be a lot of good things. In the secret room of the spaceship, Yang Xiaoshan did not refine the 20-million-year-old demon lotus, but continued to swallow the 4 divine fruits to practice. The Sword Country is very far away from the vast sea, but after the speed of the vast sea boat is increased, Yang Xiaoshan should be able to reach the Sword Country in less than a month. That night, Yang Xiaoshan sat cross-legged in the vast sea boat, and the whole person merged into the surrounding world, which was the state of selflessness. Even though the vast sea boat was extremely fast and time and space changed, it still did not affect Yang Xiaoshan's state of selflessness. After many years of practice and comprehension, Yang Xiaoshan's state of selflessness has reached the pinnacle. After entering the pinnacle of selflessness, Yang Xiaoshan's mind traveled through the world. All the movements and any subtle changes around him were reflected in his mind. Suddenly, when passing a certain Dead Sea, Yang Xiaoshan sensed a familiar breath. It was Lin Wei from the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan. However, in addition to Lin Wei, there were several masters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan with extremely strong breaths. Yang Xiaoshan opened his eyes. He didn't expect to meet Lin Wei here. The Dead Sea was lifeless and desolate. What were Lin Wei and the masters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan doing in such a desolate Dead Sea? Feeling strange, Yang Xiaoshan drove the vast sea boat and followed far behind. Although the vast sea boat was flying without any fluctuations, Yang Xiaoshan still controlled the vast sea boat very carefully. Following all the way, finally, Lin Wei and several masters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan came to a sea peak. There were tens of thousands of sea peaks, crisscrossing above the Dead Sea. Lin Wei and his companions flew into the sea peaks, and then they disappeared after a while. Yang Xiaoshan was stunned, and then he followed the route that Lin Wei had taken, and after passing through dozens of peaks, he came to a certain peak. Lin Wei and his companions should have entered a certain space, but he stretched out his hand and probed forward, but he did not sense the existence of the space in trance. They should have identity cards on them, and the forbidden power of the identity cards can trigger the space in trance, allowing them to enter unimpeded, said Uncle Ding. Yang Xiaoshan frowned. If so, wouldn't it be that only Lin Wei and other disciples of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan could enter? He felt that this might be the headquarters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan. We killed a Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan elder before, right? Search his space artifact again to see if there is an identity card, said Uncle Ding. Yang Xiaoshan could not help but take out the space artifact of Lin Xian, the elder of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan who had been killed before, and then searched for a while, and really found the other party's identity card. However, the identity card was found, but the forbidden power on it was completely dim. Obviously, with the death of Lin Xian, his ID card also lost its function. Yang Xiaoshan was disappointed. Let me try, Ding Yi said, and then a golden light enveloped Lin Xian's ID card. The ID card, which had been dim, gradually became brighter. The restrictions on the ID card that had dissipated also gradually recovered. After a dozen breaths, the ID card's restriction power was completely restored. There is still this operation? Yang Xiaoshan couldn't help but have a new understanding of Ding Yi's ability. He took Lin Xian's ID card and tried to go through the front space with Ding Yi. Sure enough, Yang Xiaoshan felt his whole body lighten, the scenery changed, and he came to another space. In this space, there is a vitality and rich spiritual energy, which is completely different from the Dead Sea outside. Yang Xiaoshan looked around and saw endless mountains. At the end of the mountain, there was the glory of the palace. Yang Xiaoshan used space concealment and then asked Ding Yi to help him conceal his breath and carefully flew to the end of the mountain. It didn't take long before he saw the sky and the ground full of Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan masters. The masters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan flapped their wings and shuttled back and forth between the mountains and palaces. Although Yang Xiaoshan expected that this might be the headquarters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan, it was still unexpected to see so many masters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan. After confirming that this was the headquarters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan, Yang Xiaoshan was more careful to restrain his breath. Since this was the headquarters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan, maybe the ancestor of the Silver Sky Blood Demon was also there. The other party was one of the 10 ancestors of the God Realm, so he had to be careful. Yang Ocean flew forward carefully. After passing through countless mountains, he saw a sky-supporting demon peak blocking the way. The sky-supporting demon peak exuded amazing demonic power, and other disciples of the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan did not dare to approach. Obviously, this was the headquarters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan. Its treasure house might also be in it. Before Yang Ocean arrived at the demon peak, he confirmed that there was no restriction, and then he sneaked in carefully. Not long after sneaking in, he sensed Lin Wen's breath. Yang Ocean flew to where Lin Wen's breath was. Soon, he came to a huge palace. Inside the palace, a large group of ancestors of the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan sat, and Lin Wei, the young patriarch, sat at the last position. On the throne of the main hall sat a tall old man. His whole body was covered in blood, and his aura was earth-shaking. The moment he saw the old man, Yang Ocean's heart tightened. His master, the Lord of Heaven and Earth, had described the appearance of the Blood Demon ancestor to him. This old man was the Blood Demon ancestor. However, at this moment, the Blood Demon ancestor looked a little pale, as if he was injured. The Blood Demon ancestor was one of the 10 ancestors of the God Realm, but he was injured? Who injured him? Yang Ocean couldn't help but think of his previous battle with Meng Bingsu. Could it be Meng Bingsu? You are so brave that you dare to sneak into my Silver Sky Blood Demon headquarters. At this time, the Blood Demon ancestor suddenly looked outside the main hall and spoke. Chapter 940. All spaces of the treasure house are blocked. In the hall, all the masters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan looked outside the hall upon hearing this. At this time, a night owl-like laugh sounded from the night sky outside the hall. Then, an extremely huge coffin descended from the void. This huge coffin was hundreds of feet high and hundreds of feet long. It descended like a black mountain, and the entire coffin was covered in blood. When the huge coffin descended, the boundless demonic power covered the heavens, and the mountain below was directly crushed into powder. Seeing this huge bloody coffin, Yang Ocean's eyes condensed. The ancient tomb demon sect, and such a huge coffin, then the person who came was probably the ancestor of the ancient tomb demon sect. Although the ancient tomb demon sect and the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan are both one of the 10 superpowers in the demon ancestor continent, the relationship between the two forces is not good, and it can even be said to be extremely bad. Sometimes, in order to compete for resources, the disciples of the two forces often fight bloody battles. Therefore, the masters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan in the hall were all shocked when they saw the newcomer. When the Blood Demon ancestor saw the person coming, his face darkened. Old man from the tomb. The person coming was the ancestor of the ancient tomb demon sect. The ancient tomb ancestor, who was lying in the huge coffin, laughed and said, "Old man Lin, I heard that you were injured by a woman, and the injury was not light. As a friend for many years, I came to see you. Don't be nervous." The Blood Demon ancestor stood up. His face was a little ugly. The other party took advantage of his serious injury to visit him. Naturally there was no good intention. He said, "My injury is fine, so you don't need to worry. Today, my Blood Demon clan has something to discuss, so I won't entertain you. Please go back." The ancient tomb ancestor laughed and said, "I came all the way to visit you, and you want to drive me away as soon as I arrived. This is not the way to treat guests. I haven't practiced with you for a few years. Since you are fine, let's practice." Having said this, the Blood Demon ancestor didn't even have time to speak. The bloody ancient coffin burst out with terrifying power and suddenly blasted towards the Blood Demon ancestor. If he had not been seriously injured, the Blood Demon ancestor would have been able to suppress the ancient tomb ancestor by 1 point, but at this moment he was seriously injured. Seeing the ancient tomb ancestor attacking with all his strength, his face changed. Just as the ancient tomb ancestor was about to take action, suddenly, there was another earth-shaking sound, and the ancestors of the ancient tomb demon sect were leading their disciples to rush in like a tide. Kill. The Blood Demon clan and the ancient tomb demon sect fought together. The killing sound was loud. The power of destroying the world was like two ancient sacred mountains colliding violently from time to time. Yang Xiaoshan did not expect the ancient tomb ancestor to lead his disciples to come, but the Blood Demon clan and the ancient tomb demon sect were fighting, and he could take the opportunity to find the Blood Demon clan's treasure house. See if there is any origin fruit in the Blood Demon clan's treasure house. Although he got hundreds of origin fruits from the Hangmengdao Palace, these origin fruits are far from enough for him to break through the 19th level. He has to find more origin fruits. So, Yang Xiaoshan hid in the space, carefully restrained his breath, and began to look for the Blood Demon clan's treasure house. He had to find it before the battle between the two sides ended. However, the Demon Peak was too big, and it was extremely difficult to find it in a short time. Master Ding, is there any way? Yang Xiaoshan asked. This Demon Peak is full of forbidden formations, and it is not easy to explore. Master Ding said, give me 2 mouthfuls of heavenly holy water. Yang Xiaoshan did not hesitate, and immediately gave Master Ding 2 mouthfuls of heavenly holy water. After swallowing 2 mouthfuls of heavenly holy water, Master Ding's golden light was bright, and an invisible force spread out, and penetrated into the ground of the Demon Peak. As soon as Master Ding's power penetrated into the ground, it was blocked by the forbidden power. However, its light shook, and its power penetrated the opponent's restrictions, and then continued to explore deeper. This Demon Peak has dozens of formations. In addition to dozens of formations, there are also many different spaces, so it is extremely troublesome to explore. Even Master Ding, after consuming 2 mouthfuls of heavenly holy water, took nearly half an hour to explore the entire Demon Peak. Seeing that Uncle Ding had taken back his power, Yang Xiaoshan asked, Uncle Ding, how is it? Uncle Ding smiled and said, I found it. Yang Xiaoshan was greatly encouraged when he heard it. Let's go. Immediately, Uncle Ding took Yang Xiaoshan to fly in a certain direction of the Demon Peak. Because the ancient tomb demon gate was coming, many of the ancestors guarding the Demon Peak went out to fight. So Yang Xiaoshan hid in space and easily passed through one passage after another, and finally came to a place under the Demon Peak, and stood in front of the treasure house gate. Perhaps because they were too confident in the power of the various formations and restrictions on the Demon Peak, the Blood Demon clan did not send an ancestor to guard the treasure house gate. This greatly facilitated Yang Xiaoshan, otherwise, Yang Xiaoshan would have to find a way to deal with the guarding ancestors. Looking at the treasure house gate in front of him, Yang Xiaoshan couldn't help but get excited. The Yinshan Blood Demon clan is one of the 10 superpowers in the Demon Ancestor continent. There must be a lot of treasures in its headquarters treasure house. Let's get started. Uncle Ding smiled, and he was also a little impatient. The treasure house of the Yinshan Blood Demon clan's headquarters. I don't know about other treasures, but there must be a lot of heavenly Dao holy water. With the heavenly Dao holy water, its strength can be restored a lot. Immediately, Yang Xiaoshan activated the 18th level of the Eternal Divine Body and placed his palms on the door of the treasury. The door of the treasury was made of the hardest kind of divine iron in the divine realm, but after the Eternal Divine Body broke through the 18th level, the power of time was so amazing that soon the door was constantly corroded and assimilated by the power of time, turning into grains of time sand, floating between heaven and earth. Looking at the drifting grains of time sand in front of him, Yang Xiaoshan seemed to have returned to the scene of visiting the Mingmen treasure house in the Kangshan continent. I don't know where the headquarters of the Divine Realm Hell Demon Gate is, and I will visit it if I have the chance in the future. After a while, the door of the treasury was finally assimilated by Yang Xiaoshan's power of time. Sensing that the power of the battle outside was constantly weakening, Yang Xiaoshan hurriedly flew into the treasury, then unfolded the power of the soul, and flew to the deepest part of the treasury at a very fast speed. After arriving at the deepest part of the treasury, I saw a series of chaotic spirit veins floating in the air like a chaotic dragon, and there were as many as 5. Although it was expected that there would be a lot of chaos spirit stones in the treasury of the Blood Demon clan headquarters, Yang Xiaoshan did not expect that there would be 5 chaos spirit veins. Yang Xiaoshan did not hesitate, and quickly activated the power of the Chaos Divine Body to capture the 5 chaos spirit veins. After putting away the 5 chaos spirit veins, he continued to look for the origin divine fruit, and finally found a pile of origin divine fruits in a secret compartment, more than 100 in total. Afterwards, Yang Ocean found more than 300 mouthfuls of heavenly Dao holy water in a jade bottle. After fighting the living dead at the burial cliff, he had used up very little heavenly Dao holy water, and now he could replenish it greatly. Yang Ocean gave half of it to Uncle Ding to restore his strength. Just when Yang Ocean was about to look for a divine medicine that was more than 20 million years old, the exasperated voice of the Blood Demon Clan chief rang out. Quick, seal all the space in the treasury for me, and don't let a fly out. Chapter 941 Seeking Death. Discovered. Yang Ocean's heart skipped a beat. It should be that when he collected the Chaos Spiritual Vein, Heavenly Holy Water and Origin Divine Fruit, he touched some restriction, which aroused the alarm of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan. At that moment, Yang Ocean did not bother to look for the divine medicine anymore. He used spatial concealment, and then with the help of Ding Yi, shielded his breath, and flew to the exit of the treasury at a high speed. But he was in the deepest part of the treasury at the moment. It was impossible to fly to the exit of the treasury before the masters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan arrived. Sure enough, just when Yang Ocean was halfway through the flight, the masters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan had already rushed over. It was related to the treasury. There were quite a few Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan members who came this time, as many as tens of thousands. And all of them were above the Divine Emperor, and their shocking power swallowed up the sky and the earth. The violent murderous intent flooded every corner of the treasury. Ordinary divine lords, facing such terrifying murderous intent and divine power, would have fainted from fear. Even Yang Ocean, his whole body tensed up, and flew very carefully. Open the space formation. Lin Zion, the patriarch of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan, arrived at the treasure house and saw the destroyed door of the treasure house. He immediately shouted, "Guard the door for me." The masters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan responded coldly and opened the space formation of the treasure house. Suddenly, infinite light from the formation sprayed out from every corner of the treasure house. These light from the formation were like a spider web, dense, and would cover every inch of the treasure house. No matter who was in the treasure house, they would be exposed. Looking at the light from the formation that was shooting down, Yang Ocean was shocked. Just as he was about to take action, the voice of Master Ding sounded, "No need." Then a force spread to Yang Ocean's whole body, covering Yang Ocean's whole body. When the light from the formation hit, Yang Ocean found that with that force covering him, the power of the formation could not attack him at all. "Leave the treasure house first," Master Ding said. "My secret method can't last long. It can only last for an hour at most." 1 hour. Hearing this, Yang Ocean did not delay any longer. Under the space hiding, he flew to the door of the treasure house with all his strength. When the head of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan, Lin Zion, saw that no one else appeared in the treasure house after the space formation was opened, he could not help but be suspicious. The other masters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan were also very suspicious. Could it be that the other party has escaped from the treasure house? One of the ancestors said in a deep voice. Impossible. He just triggered the restriction. It is impossible for him to escape from the treasure house so quickly. Lin Zion shook his head, his eyes flashing with a demonic light, scanning the treasure house space. The other party must have used some secret method to avoid the power of the space formation. "You guard the door of the treasure house. Huizu, the 4 of you go in with me to search." Then, Lin Zion and Huizu and the other 4 flew into the treasure house and began to search for Yang Ocean. Under the ancestor of the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan, there are 10 ancient ancestors. Huizu and the other 4 are one of the 10 ancient ancestors, but now there are only 9 ancient ancestors left in the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan. Because Yan Zhu, who coveted the body of Zulong, was killed by He Yi with 1 claw in Zulong continent. After Huizu entered the treasure house, he waved his hands, and a blood mist appeared all over his body. The blood mist condensed into blood-colored eyes, which shot out blood-red rays of light, covering the surrounding space, searching and sensing Yang Ocean's existence. This is the supreme skill of the ancient Blood Demon Clan, the Heavenly Soul Blood Eye. The Heavenly Soul Blood Eye is said to be able to break all invisibility and escape methods, and anyone who is illuminated by the Heavenly Soul Blood Eye will gradually rot and suffer extreme pain. Soon, Huizu approached Yang Ocean. The blood-colored light of the heavenly soul blood eye enveloped Yangzai Ocean and the space around Yangzai Ocean. However, with the cover of Ding Yi's secret power, the blood-colored light of these heavenly soul blood eyes could not illuminate Yangzai Ocean. Yangzai Ocean passed in front of the other party without any danger. When Yangzai Ocean passed through, Huizu looked at the area where Yangzai Ocean was in confusion. He waved his hand, and the amazing sword energy blasted out and killed the area where Yangzai Ocean was. However, there was nothing abnormal in the sword energy that passed by. After passing through the space where Huizu and others were searching, Yangzai Ocean continued to fly towards the gate of the treasury. However, when he arrived at the gate of the treasury, he saw that the masters of the Yinshan Blood Demon clan had blocked the gate. "Don't worry, my secret method can pass through them," said Master Ding. Yangzai Ocean felt relieved after hearing this, and then he passed through the masters of the Yinshan Blood Demon clan like a transparent man, and left the treasure house of the Yinshan Blood Demon clan. After leaving the treasury, Yangzai Ocean did not dare to stop for a moment, and flew quickly towards the entrance and exit of the space. It didn't take long, an hour, and the power of the secret method disappeared. But at this time, there was still a long distance from the entrance and exit of the space of the headquarters of the Yinshan Blood Demon clan. The entrance and exit of the space had already gathered densely packed masters of the Yinshan Blood Demon clan. If not millions, there were hundreds of thousands. Yangzai Ocean saw these masters of the Yinshan Blood Demon clan from afar, and his face sank. Master Ding's secret method had failed, and it was obviously impossible to pass through the entrance and exit of the space without the Yinshan Blood Demon clan being aware. Yangzai Ocean's eyes were stern. Kill. When Yangzai Ocean approached the entrance and exit of the space, he did not hesitate, and swung his two swords. Suddenly, infinite sword energy gushed out. The masters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan were instantly shocked. Just as they were about to attack, they saw the infinite sword energy gushing out. "Attack!" An elder of the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan said angrily, waving his hands and condensing into an amazing defensive light shield, trying to block Yangzai Ocean's sword energy. But as soon as he attacked, he saw an extremely huge golden flame tripod falling from the sky. Boom. The entire space of the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan headquarters trembled violently. Hundreds of thousands of Silver Sky Blood Demon clan masters were blown away. The entrance and exit of the space that was originally blocked became empty. Yangzai Ocean rushed to the entrance and exit of the space at a very fast speed. However, just as Yangzai Ocean was about to leave, suddenly, in the void, a sky-supporting magic palm broke through the air and suddenly slammed towards Yangzai Ocean. "Stay here." The power of the sky-supporting magic palm was destructive. It was the Silver Sky Blood Demon ancestor who made the move. When the sky-supporting demon palm slammed down, the golden flame of Lord Ding surged. The demon palm slammed on the golden flame light shield of Lord Ding. Amidst the huge tremor, Yangzai Ocean passed through the space in trance and exit and left the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan headquarters nest. Humph. A cold snort sounded, and the Silver Sky Blood Demon ancestor was about to chase Yangzai Ocean, but the ancient tomb ancestor suddenly slammed out with a palm, forcing the Silver Sky Blood Demon ancestor back. After coming out of the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan headquarters nest, Yangzai Ocean returned to the desolate Dead Sea again, breathed a sigh of relief, and without stopping, drove the vast sea boat to the Kingdom of Swords at a high speed. However, after a while, Yangzai Ocean sensed 4 terrifying auras behind him that were chasing him madly, and they were the 4 people of Huizu. "Boy, you dare to enter my Silver Sky Blood Demon's treasure house. Take my Silver Sky Blood Demon's treasure, and kill my Silver Sky Blood Demon's disciples. You are simply courting death." Huizu and the other 4 had cold eyes, and from a great distance, they punched at Yangzai Ocean. The force of the punch was so strong that it caught up with the Hanhei boat. Chapter 942, Kingdom of Swords. Boom. With the combined efforts of the 4 Huizus, the vast sea boat was still shaken even with the protection of Lord Ding's light shield. "Lord Ding, are you sure you can kill them?" Yangzai Ocean looked at the 4 Huizus who were chasing him, his eyes cold. "With my current strength, it will take 300 mouthfuls of heavenly Dao holy water to kill the 4 of them," Lord Ding said. 300 mouthfuls of heavenly Dao holy water. Yangzai Ocean frowned. This was almost all the heavenly Dao holy water he had on him now. He gritted his teeth and said, "Go." Although it would take 300 mouthfuls of heavenly Deo holy water to kill 4 people, the 4 Huzus were among the 10 ancient ancestors of the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan, and they must have a lot of good things on them. At this time, the 4 Huzus gradually approached the vast sea boat. "Boy, you can't escape." The gloomy voice of the Huzu sounded, "I will extract your soul alive, and then burn it with ghost fire day and night." But as soon as he finished speaking, Yang's ocean suddenly stopped. The 4 Huzus were just wondering when suddenly they saw a giant golden flame tripod flying out of the sky. This giant golden flame tripod blocked out the sun, and the golden flame illuminated the infinite space, and then it blasted towards the 4 of them with terrifying power. The 4 Huzus felt the terrifying power of Lord Ding, and their faces changed drastically. They didn't have time to think about it, and attacked one after another. Void Demon Heaven Slash. Blood Sea Demon Ancestor Fist. Devil Yuan Sky Supporting Knife. Blood Eye Breaking the Sky. The 4 Huzus simultaneously unleashed their strongest attacks. The vast demonic energy, the blood sea churning, the sword energy intersecting the heaven and earth, and the blood eyes all over the sky. However, even if the 4 of them unleashed their strongest attacks, it was useless. With the power of the heavenly Deo holy water, Lord Ding blasted away the 4 people's blood sea demonic energy and sword energy with an unmatched force, and all the blood eyes exploded. The 4 Huzus only felt that the world in front of them darkened, and they were all blown away, and fell heavily on the distant mountains. The 4 of them spit out a mouthful of blood, and they all looked terrified. The 4 of them were all ancient ancestors of the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan. With their combined strength, they could even fight against the 10 great ancestors. However, they were seriously injured by a single blow from a golden tripod. After sending the 4 flying, Ding Yi's body was covered in golden flames, and he once again blasted down with supreme power and destructive force. Huizu and the other 4 were horrified, and their whole bodies were frantically supported by divine power. At the same time, they almost instantly activated the Divine Shadow Escape Talisman on their bodies. But then they discovered that when the power of the Divine Shadow Escape Talisman was about to wrap them up and escape, it was like hitting the Chaos Iron Wall and was repelled. Seeing that even the Divine Shadow Escape Talisman was ineffective, they were shocked, angry, desperate, and unwilling. They suddenly broke through the air and blasted towards Ding Yi with all their strength again. However, the 4 of them had not been injured just now, and they could not block Ding Yi's attack, let alone after being injured. So Ding Yi once again plowed through the 4 people's attacks, and blasted them away. After doing this for more than 10 times, Ding Yi finally stopped. When Ding Yi stopped, he saw that Huizu and the other 4 were already dying. Yang Ocean urged the power of the 15 swords domain, and the god of the 10,000 Zhang domain condensed. 15 swords domain. Huizu and the other 4 widened their eyes, looking incredible. Yang Ocean waved his hands, and the power of the 15 swords domain blasted through the 4. After confirming that the 4 were dead, Yang Ocean went forward to search for the 4 people's space artifacts. He did not check, but burned the 4 bodies with the divine fire, and then drove the Hanhei boat away at a high speed. After a while, seeing that there were no more Yinshan Blood Demon clan masters chasing after him, Yang Ocean took out the 4 people's space artifacts, and then nervously opened them all. What made Yang Ocean relieved was that there were many treasures in the 4 people's space artifacts. Although the heavenly Deo holy water was not as much as Yang Ocean expected, the 4 people together had more than 200 mouthfuls. And there were also 2 chaos spirit veins. What surprised Yang Ocean was that there was also a 40-million-year-old divine medicine. He decided to wait until he broke through the realm of God King, and then swallow this 40-million-year-old divine medicine. By then, he should be able to break through the 2nd level of God King in one fell swoop, saving him hundreds of years of hard work. Just as Yang Ocean drove the vast sea boat to continue flying to the Kingdom of Sword, in the headquarters of the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan, the Blood Demon ancestor Lin Qianai stood at the entrance of the space with a gloomy face. He was surrounded by corpses and flesh. These were the hundreds of thousands of disciples of the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan who blocked the entrance of the space, and were blown away by Master Ding. Did you see who it was? Lin Qianai asked Lin Xian in an extremely cold voice. It meant the person who sneaked into their treasure house. Lin Xian shook his head. No. I think it was the people from the ancient tomb demon sect who did it. An old ancestor said in a deep voice. Who else could it be, except the people from the ancient tomb demon sect? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Whether it is true or not, we will know when Huzu and the other four come back. He was still extremely confident in the strength of Huzu and the other four. At this moment, an old ancestor flew over in panic with a look of fear on his face, and said in a fearful and trembling voice, the soul jade tablets of the four people, the old ancestor, the clan leader, and the Huzu, are broken. In the spaceship, Yang Xiaoshan sat cross-legged on a piece of chaos spirit stone, and continued to swallow the four divine fruits to practice. Half a month passed. The Kingdom of Swords finally arrived. The Kingdom of Swords, the head of the Demon Ancestor Continent Empire, is also one of the 10 superpowers of the Demon Ancestor Continent. It is a famous sword holy land in the entire God's domain. Half of the 10 great sword gods of the Demon Ancestor Continent came from the Kingdom of Swords. Even the white-clothed sword god Zebuhu and the Master of Fate had practiced swordsmanship in the Kingdom of Swords. Although the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan is strong, the ancient Tomb Demon sect dares to provoke it. However, neither the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan nor the ancient Tomb Demon sect is willing to offend the Kingdom of Swords. It can be seen that the status of the Kingdom of Swords in the Demon Ancestor Continent. After entering the Kingdom of Swords, swordsmen can be seen everywhere, and sword masters are often seen competing in swordsmanship. On the walls of many cities, there are even various sword techniques and sword moves engraved. On some buildings, there are sword runes. And almost all the sword shops on both sides of the street are forging swords. After Yang Xiaoshan entered the Kingdom of Swords, he went straight to the Wanji Sword Mountain. In the Kingdom of Swords, there is a Wanji Sword Mountain, which is also the most famous sword mountain in the Kingdom of Swords. Inside the Sword Mountain, there are 6 sword formations that gave birth to the sword domain. As long as he comprehends and refines these 6 sword domains, he can cultivate the 3 major sword domains to the state of minor success. When Yang Xiaoshan rushed to the Wanji Sword Mountain, he met many sword cultivators on the way, who were talking about the battle between the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan and the ancient Tomb Demon sect. What? Someone broke into the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan's treasury. The 4 ancient Huzu ancestors are dead. Who was it? Who killed the 4 ancient Huzu ancestors? I don't know. No one saw clearly who it was. Some people speculated whether it was done by the ancient Tomb Demon sect. That night, the founder of the ancient Tomb Demon sect led his masters to kill into the Silver Sky Blood Demon headquarters. I think it was that Miss Meng who killed them. It's definitely not Miss Meng. With Miss Meng's strength, if she wants to take the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan's treasury, she can just take it directly. Chapter 943 Princess Bihan. Why did Miss Meng fight with the Blood Demon ancestor? It seems to be related to the primordial demon ancestor. Everyone discussed. Related to the primordial demon ancestor? Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. It seems that the God-slaying king has come to the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Mountain to comprehend the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Dao again. How many times has the God-slaying king come to the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Mountain to comprehend the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Dao? It seems to be the 1001st time. The God-slaying king has comprehended the 9,000th tribulation. Maybe he can really comprehend the 10,000th tribulation. It gets harder and harder as time goes by. It's hard for the God-slaying king to comprehend it. I don't know who will be able to comprehend the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Dao in the future. I heard that the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Dao was left by the Chaos Demon Lord. Who knows? As he approached the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Mountain, Yang Xiaoshan met more and more sword cultivators. The 10,000 Tribulation Sword Mountain is the most famous sword mountain in the Sword Kingdom, so there are countless masters who come to the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Mountain to comprehend the Sword Dao. Even the ancestors and emperors of the Sword Kingdom often come to the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Mountain to practice. The God-killing king, as everyone calls him, is the #1 sword god in the Demon Ancestor Continent and the sword god who has comprehended the highest level of the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Dao. Apart from the God-killing king, no other sword master has been able to comprehend the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Dao to the 9,000th level. When Yang Ocean arrived at the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Mountain, the foot of the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Mountain was surrounded by sword masters from all sides of the Demon Ancestor continent. The Demon Ancestor continent is shrouded in demonic energy, but strangely enough, there is no demonic energy within 1,000 miles around the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Mountain. When Yang Ocean arrived, he saw a large group of sword cultivators surrounding a woman in a tight suit. The woman was tall and gave people a heroic feeling. "Brother, are you here for Princess Bihan too?" At this time, a sword cultivator disciple next to him approached him. "Princess Bihan?" Yang Ocean was puzzled. The sword cultivator disciple looked Yang Ocean up and down, very surprised. "You don't even know Princess Bihan, do you?" Yang Ocean shook his head. He really didn't know what Princess Bihan was. "Princess Bihan, you don't even know." The sword disciple's expression seemed a little exaggerated, and he joked, "Brother, you have been in seclusion for tens of thousands of years, and you just came out, right?" Then he said, "Princess Bihan is the princess of our sword country. She is also the young generation of our sword country with the best sword talent." Having said this, he looked at Princess Bihan in the distance with admiration. In just tens of thousands of years, Princess Bihan has already comprehended the Wanji Sword Dao to the 3,000th tribulation. As if afraid that Yang Ocean didn't know, he added, "It took King Zushan a full 200,000 years to comprehend the 3,000th tribulation." Yang Ocean was surprised. Many sword disciples comprehended the Wanji Sword Dao, and they might not be able to comprehend the first 100th tribulation after tens of thousands of years. Princess Bihan has comprehended the 3,000th tribulation in tens of thousands of years. Such a talent for swordsmanship is indeed amazing. How about it? Are you surprised? The sword disciple smiled at Yang Ocean and said, "The god-slaying king wanted to accept her as his personal disciple, but Princess Bihan refused." Not only the god-slaying king, but even the founder of the Heaven and Earth Divine Palace, Master Wu Yin, wanted to accept our Princess Bihan as his disciple, but was rejected by our Princess Bihan. At this time, another sword cultivating male disciple interrupted and said, "Princess Bihan once said that, even if the Lord of the Heaven and Earth Divine Palace wanted to accept her as a disciple, she would still refuse." Oh. Yang Ocean was surprised. Princess Bihan has signed up for this Battle of the God Realm. After she passes the Battle of the God Realm, she will participate in the Battle of Shyandao Mountain, and is expected to win the top 20. The sword cultivating male disciple said, "The leader of the Chaos Domain Invincible sect once said that, as long as the disciples from the 4 domains who participated in the Battle of Shyandao Mountain can win the top 20, they can join their Invincible sect." The Invincible sect is the #1 sect in the Chaos Domain. In the past, the top 10 places in the Battle of Shyandao Mountain were almost all won by disciples of the Invincible sect. In previous battles of Shyandao Mountain, countless disciples of the Divine Palace of Heaven and Earth died at the hands of disciples of the Invincible sect. So, this Princess Bihan wants to win the top 20 in the Battle of Shyandao Mountain, and then join the Invincible sect of the Chaos Domain. Yang Ocean asked. "Yes." The sword cultivating disciple nodded. "Our Princess Bihan has an amazing talent in swordsmanship. If she joins the Divine Palace of Heaven and Earth, I think it would be a waste of her talent. Only the Invincible sect of the Chaos Domain Invincible sect is qualified to accept our princess as a disciple." Yang Ocean frowned. "Don't you think highly of the Divine Palace of Heaven and Earth? In every battle of Shyandao Mountain, the disciples of the Invincible sect of the Chaos Domain abuse the disciples of the Divine Domain. I didn't expect that Princess Bihan, and others in the Divine Domain, would not be ashamed, but would be proud to join the Invincible sect of the Chaos Domain. Brother, are you also here, to comprehend the way of the 10,000 Tribulation Sword?" The sword cultivating disciple said, "I advise you not to go in and comprehend it." "Why?" Yang Ocean was stunned. When Princess Bihan entered the Wanji Sword formation to comprehend the Wanji Sword Dao several times, many disciples also entered the sword formation under the pretext of comprehending the Wanji Sword Dao, just to get close to Princess Bihan. Princess Bihan was disturbed several times, so the Emperor of the Sword Kingdom ordered that other disciples could not enter. When Princess Bihan entered the Wanji Sword formation to comprehend the Sword Dao in the future, the disciple explained, "Other disciples can't enter?" Yang Zai Ocean, the Swanji Sword Mountain does not belong to the Sword Kingdom. It's too overbearing for the Sword Kingdom to do this. In the Demon Ancestor continent, even the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan is unwilling to offend the Sword Kingdom. Who dares to say anything about the Sword Kingdom's actions? The disciple shook his head and persuaded Yang Zai Ocean, but there are other sword formations in the Wanji Sword Mountain. Brothers can also go to other sword formations to comprehend. You don't have to enter the Wanji Sword Formation. If you offend the Sword Kingdom, I'm afraid no one can save you. Yang Zai Ocean looked at the Wanji Sword Formation. 2 sword realms were born in the Wanji Sword Formation. He had to enter the Wanji Sword Formation this time. Otherwise, if he missed these 2 sword realms, he might not be able to cultivate all 15 sword realms to the minor success level before the Battle of Shyandao Mountain. Thinking of this, Yang Zai Ocean flew up and landed in front of the Wanji Sword Formation. Princess Bihan's subordinates and Princess Bihan were flying towards the Wanji Sword Formation. Suddenly, they saw Yang Zai Ocean about to enter the Wanji Sword Formation and shouted, "Stop!" A man flew up into the air and landed in front of Yang Zai Ocean, stopping him. "Your Majesty has ordered that when our princess enters the Wanji Sword Formation to comprehend the sword, other disciples cannot enter together." Yang Zai Ocean heard this and said, "Didn't the God-slaying king also enter the Wanji Sword Formation?" The subordinate's face sank. "The God-slaying king is the God-slaying king. You are not even worthy of carrying the shoes for the God-slaying king. How can you be compared with the God-slaying king? Get out now, or else." However, as soon as he said this, Yang Zai Ocean's eyes turned cold, and he waved his hand, and the power of the sword burst out, instantly blasting the opponent away. Then he flew into the Wanji Sword Formation. Seeing this, Princess Bihan's pretty face sank. Obviously, she did not expect that Yang Zai Ocean not only ignored her father's order, but also dared to hurt her subordinates. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 944, Killing the God King. Your Highness, this guy is simply courting death. I'll go in and capture him now. Another subordinate of Princess Bihan was furious and was about to fly into the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Formation. "No need," Princess Bihan said coldly. "I can go in alone. You wait for me outside." Having said this, without allowing her subordinates to speak, she flashed into the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Formation alone. The 10,000 Tribulation Sword Formation was huge. As soon as Yang Zai Ocean entered the sword formation, the vast sword energy of the sword formation bombarded him. This 10,000 Tribulation Sword Formation was left by the Chaos Demon Lord back then. Looking at the vast sword energy bombarding him, Yang Zai Ocean activated the Chaos Swallowing Heaven art. Suddenly, the vast sword energy that was originally bombarding him stopped 1 meter in front of him. So, Princess Bihan, who was chasing him from behind, saw the overwhelming vast sword energy of the 9 tribulations bombarded in front of Yang Zai Ocean, and then stopped 1 meter away from Yang Zai Ocean. I saw these sword energies coming one after another, and after stopping 1 meter in front of Yang Zai Ocean, they all collided together, forming one terrifying sword storm after another. But no matter how violent these sword storms were, they could never hit Yang Zai Ocean. 1 meter in front of Yang Zai Ocean became a vacuum zone. Princess Bihan was stunned. What was going on? Even she, who had comprehended the first 3,000 tribulations of the 10,000 tribulation sword path, couldn't do it. How did this young man do it? No, even the God-slaying king who had comprehended the 10,000 tribulation sword path to the 9,000 tribulations couldn't do it. These 10,000 tribulation swordkiss were like meeting their masters who had returned home, and they didn't dare to attack the young man at all. No, they couldn't attack the young man at all. Yang Zai Ocean ignored Princess Bihan behind him, and continued to move forward. Every time he took a step forward, the 10,000 tribulation swordkiss took a step back. When Yang Zai Ocean flew forward, the 10,000 tribulation swordkiss flew back. Princess Bihan woke up and hurried to follow. She wanted to see which area of the 10,000 tribulation sword formation this young man could enter. The Wanji sword formation has 10 areas. Generally speaking, only after you have thoroughly comprehended the first 1000 calamities can you enter the second area. At present, only the God-slaying king has comprehended the first 9000 calamities and entered the last area. Soon, Yang Ocean came to the end of the first area, then passed through the first area and entered the second area. Princess Bihan's whole body was filled with Wanji sword energy, resisting the sword energy attack of the sword formation. But Yang Ocean was not like her, who needed to rely on Wanji sword energy to resist the sword energy attack of the sword formation. Yang Ocean seemed to be taking a normal walk, with no sword energy fluctuations in his body, but Wanji sword energy did not attack him. Princess Bihan followed behind, and the more she looked, the more surprised she was. Soon, Yang Ocean came to the fourth area, which was the last area Princess Bihan could reach. But while Princess Bihan was following, Yang Ocean still passed through the fourth area and came to the fifth area. How could this happen? Princess Bihan looked at Yang Ocean and said in surprise as she entered the fifth area. Among the younger generation, she had the highest level of comprehending the Wanji sword Dao, and even she could not enter the fifth area. She had never heard of anyone in the younger generation who had comprehended the 10,000 tribulation sword Dao to more than 4,000 tribulations. Who was this person? Just as Princess Bihan was in doubt, in the fifth area, when the demon sword god was comprehending the 4196th tribulation of the 10,000 tribulation sword Dao, he suddenly saw a young man in a blue shirt walking in. This young man walked in without any 10,000 tribulation sword key fluctuations on his body. The demon sword god, who was also a long-established sword god in the demon ancestor continent, was as powerful as many super sect masters. Seeing a young man walking past him in such a leisurely manner, he was dumbfounded. And this young man was in the God Lord realm. Seeing this young man in the God Lord realm walking towards the end of the fifth area, passing through the fifth area, and entering the sixth area, the demon sword god suddenly felt a sense of horror. Could it be a ghost? However, even if it was a ghost, it would be impossible to walk through the 10,000 tribulation sword formation in such a leisurely manner. This is a 10,000 tribulation sword formation, which is known as the most difficult sword formation to comprehend in the demon ancestor continent, without a doubt. After Yang Ocean arrived at the sixth area, there was also a supreme sword god in the sixth area, who was comprehending the Wanji sword. The other party looked at Yang Ocean walking past him leisurely, and like the demon sword god, he felt a sense of horror. In this way, Yang Ocean kept walking to the deepest part of the Wanji sword formation. The two sword domains born from the Wanji sword formation were in the deepest part of the sword formation, so he had to go to the deepest part. Because Yang Ocean did not hide his breath, the sword masters who were comprehending the sword in the Wanji sword formation saw a young man in the God Lord realm walking through one area after another, and heading to the 10th area within one day. Everyone felt a sense of horror. In particular, the red-haired old demon who was comprehending the Wanji sword in the 9th area was even more shocked. The red-haired old demon was also a powerful ancestor. He had been comprehending the sword in the 9th area of the Wanji sword formation for many years. Suddenly, he saw a young man in the God Lord realm walking in, and he was naturally shocked. He even looked at Yang Ocean in a serious state. However, Yang Ocean only glanced at him, and then walked into the 10th area. The 10th area is also the last area. This area is also where the God-slaying king comprehends. Not long after Yang Ocean walked in, he saw the God-slaying king who was comprehending the 10,000 tribulation sword array. The God-slaying king sensed someone coming in, and was also surprised. He turned around, and saw that it was a young man in the God Lord realm, and he was also dumbfounded. Who are you? The God-slaying king looked at Yang Ocean in surprise and doubt, with a solemn expression on his face. Just an unknown person. Yang Ocean said, and then continued to walk to the deepest part of the 10,000 tribulation sword array. To reach the deepest part of the 10,000 tribulation sword array, you must pass through the 10th area. Seeing Yang Ocean was about to pass through the 10th area, and walk to the deepest part of the sword formation, the God-slaying king could not help but say, "You'd better not go any further." After passing through the 10th area, you will reach the 2 Great Sword Realms. No one can enter the 2 Great Sword Realms. Yang Xiaoshan suddenly stopped and said, "What if I can enter the 2 Great Sword Realms?" The God-slaying king was startled, then shook his head and said, "Impossible. No one can enter the 2 Great Sword Realms." He knew the horror of the 2 Great Sword Realms. He only approached, and they were still a few hundred meters away, but he felt the destructive power of the 2 Great Sword Realms. If he took another step closer, he would definitely be blasted into pieces. "If I can enter the 2 Great Sword Realms, you will serve me for 1,000 years. Yang Xiaoshan said, "If I can't enter the 2 Great Sword Realms, I will teach you the Chaos Devouring Heaven Art." "What? Chaos Devouring Heaven Art?" The God-slaying king was shocked. "You mean, the Chaos Devouring Heaven Art of the Chaos Demon Lord?" Chapter 945 Swearing in the Name of Heaven. "Yes, it is the Chaos Devouring Heaven Art of the Chaos Demon Lord," Yang Xiaoshan said. Upon hearing this, the God-slaying king stared at Yang Xiaoshan with murderous intent in his eyes. "So, you got in here with the Chaos Devouring Heaven Art." Obviously, he wanted to kill Yang Xiaoshan and take the Chaos Devouring Heaven Art from Yang Xiaoshan. Facing the Chaos Devouring Heaven Art of the Chaos Demon Lord, there are probably few people in the God realm who would not be tempted. However, Yang Xiaoshan had expected that the God-slaying king would have murderous intentions. Just when the God-slaying king was about to take action, suddenly, a powerful and prison-like aura swept over Yang Xiaoshan. The strength of this aura startled the God-slaying king. His eyes flickered with doubt. How could this young man have such a terrifying aura? "Okay, if you can enter the 2 Sword Realms without any trouble, I will serve you for 1,000 years. After the God-slaying king's face changed from cloudy to bright, he gritted his teeth and said, "If you can't enter the 2 Sword Realms, the Chaos Swallowing Heaven Art will be mine." The 2 Sword Realms already have independent consciousness. Even if this young man has practiced the Chaos Swallowing Heaven Art, he will still be attacked by the 2 Sword Realms. Since the Chaos Swallowing Heaven Art is ineffective, he doesn't believe that the other party, a God Master, can enter the 2 Sword Realms. "But how do I know if the Chaos Swallowing Heaven Art you said is true?" the God-slaying king said. Hearing this, Yang Xiaoshan took out the wooden sword. This wooden sword was made by the Chaos Demon Lord using the branches of the Chaos God Tree, and the Chaos Swallowing Heaven Art is inside. Having said this, he opened the inner space of the wooden sword and took out the Chaos Swallowing Heaven Art. Afterwards, Yang Xiaoshan opened the first page of the Chaos Swallowing Heaven Art and let the God-slaying king take a look from a distance. The God-slaying king was overwhelmed with excitement. Yang Xiaoshan put the Chaos Swallowing Heaven Art back into the inner space of the wooden sword and said, "If I cannot enter the 2 Sword Realms, and am killed by the power of the 2 Sword Realms, then the restriction of the wooden sword will disappear. Then, the wooden sword and the Chaos Swallowing Heaven Art will be yours." Yang Xiaoshan said this, and inserted the wooden sword into the ground. "But how can I trust you?" The God-slaying king took a deep breath. "We can swear in the name of the Heavenly Dao." "Okay." Then, Yang Xiaoshan and the God-slaying king swore in the name of the Heavenly Dao on the spot. If they broke the oath, they would be killed by the Heavenly Dao Divine Calamity. Suddenly, an invisible Heavenly Dao force bound the two. After the two swore, Yang Xiaoshan turned around and walked towards the 2 Sword Realms. The God-slaying king stared at the wooden sword on the ground with fiery eyes. As long as this kid died, the restriction on the wooden sword would disappear, and then the wooden sword and the Chaos Swallowing Heaven Art would be his. However, what the God-slaying king didn't know was that, even if Yang Xiaoshan died, he would not be able to obtain the Chaos Devouring Heaven Art and the wooden sword. Because only the Chaos Dark Divine Power could open the inner space of this wooden sword. Yang Xiaoshan walked towards the 2 Sword Domain step by step. At this time, he was still 1,000 meters away from the 2 Sword Domains. As long as he entered the range of 800 meters, he would be devastated by the 2 Sword Domains. As he approached the attack range of the 2 Sword Domains, Yang Xiaoshan became nervous. After all, this was not an ordinary sword domain, but the sword domain of the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Formation. The 10,000 Tribulation Sword Formation was arranged by the Chaos Demon Lord. The stronger the sword formation, the stronger the sword domain born. Soon, Yang Xiaoshan came to 810 meters. They were still 10 meters away from the attack range of the two sword domains. The god-slaying king's eyes also fell on Yang Xiaoshan. Seeing Yang Xiaoshan standing 810 meters away and stopped, he couldn't help but sneer. At this moment, suddenly, Yang Xiaoshan's whole body was filled with sword energy. The 15 sword domains of heaven and earth, infinite, and Taelong all flew out. The god of the 10,000 foot domain condensed. At this moment, the entire 10,000 tribulation sword formation actually ejected unprecedented sword light. The god of the domain. The god-slaying king looked at the god of the domain behind Yang Xiaoshan, and said in shock. This young man, unexpectedly, was the 15 swords domain. He actually cultivated the god of the domain. At this moment, all the strong men in the 10,000 tribulation sword formation were looking at the changes in the sword formation in surprise, not understanding why the 10,000 tribulation sword formation suddenly became like this. After summoning the god of the domain, the power of the 15 swords domain wrapped around Yang Xiaoshan's body, and Yang Xiaoshan then stepped forward to continue walking towards the two large sword domains. The god-slaying king could not hide his shock. Looking at Yang Xiaoshan who continued to walk towards the two large sword domains, he could not help but clench his fists, and his eyes were filled with demonic energy. Boy, even if you have the 15 swords domain and the god of the domain, you can't resist the power of the two large sword domains. The stronger the 15 swords domain, the stronger the god of the domain. Now, Yang Xiaoshan's 15 swords domain has not yet been fully completed, and the god of the domain can only weaken the power of the two large sword domains by half at most. Even if the two sword domains only had half of their power left, it was still extremely terrifying. Under the fierce eyes of the god-slaying king, Yang Xiaoshan finally came to the attack range of the two sword domains. Suddenly, the two sword domains ejected heavy sword energy and rushed towards Yang Xiaoshan like a tsunami. Just as the heavy sword energy hit Yang Xiaoshan, suddenly, Yang Xiaoshan's body was full of golden light. The infinite sword energy hit the golden light, and it exploded. However, although the power of the two sword domains was strong, it was impossible to break through the defense of Lord Ding and the weakening of Yang Xiaoshan's domain god. Yang Xiaoshan continued to walk towards the two sword domains with infinite sword energy. No, it's impossible. The god-slaying king's eyes widened. But under the panicked gaze of the god-slaying king, Yang Xiaoshan walked step by step to the front of the two sword domains, and then walked into the space of the sword domain. The god-slaying king's face turned pale. He clenched his fists tightly, and he was unwilling to give up. You lost. Yang Xiaoshan stood in the sword domain, looking at the god-slaying king in the distance. The face of the god-slaying king was uncertain, and he finally sighed and said, Greetings, young master. Young master, there is no need, just call me young master. Yang Xiaoshan said, and with a single hand, the wooden sword fell into his hand. Don't worry, you will follow me, and do things for me in the future, and I will not treat you unfairly. At this point, divine light surged all over his body, and the Hangmeng divine tree emerged. Hangmeng divine tree. The god-slaying king's heart was shocked. Yes, the Hangmeng divine tree. Yang Xiaoshan said, I may not have other treasures, but the Hangmeng divine fruit is infinite. The god-slaying king swallowed and said, Young master, don't worry, since I have sworn to serve you for 1,000 years, I will follow you wholeheartedly for these 1,000 years. That's good. Yang Xiaoshan put away the Hangmeng divine tree, and then flicked it with one hand, and gave the god-slaying king a Hangmeng divine fruit. This Hangmeng divine fruit, you swallow it first to practice. As long as you sincerely work for me in the future, I will give you one every month. Chapter 946. Is there something wrong? Hearing that Yang Xiaoshan would give him a Hangmeng divine fruit every month in the future, the god-slaying king could not help but feel happy. 1 a month. 12 a year, 100 years, that would be 1,200. If he worked for Yang Xiaoshan for 1,000 years, that would be 12,000. 12,000. Thinking of this, the god-slaying king's heartbeat quickened, and he clasped his fists, and said to Yang Xiaoshan, Thank you, young master. Yang Xiaoshan nodded, then came to the center of the sword domain space, sat down cross-legged, and began to comprehend the first sword domain. Seeing this, the god-slaying king could not help but be puzzled, but did not think much about it, but swallowed another Hangmeng divine fruit, and went to the side to refine the Hangmeng divine fruit. Although the sword domain born from the Wanji sword formation was mysterious, Yang Xiaoshan quickly comprehended the mystery of the sword domain of the Wanji sword formation. Yang Xiaoshan summoned the Evernite sword domain and began to integrate the Evernite sword domain into the sword domain of the Wanji sword formation, and then gradually merge the sword domain of the Wanji sword formation. When a month passed, the light of Yang Xiaoshan's eternal night sword domain rose sharply, and he finally succeeded in fusing the sword domain of the 10,000 tribulation sword formation. At the moment when Yang Xiaoshan successfully merged the sword domain of the 10,000 tribulation sword formation, the god-slaying king who was practicing sensed the changes of the 10,000 tribulation sword formation and looked towards the sword domain space in surprise. But he found that the first sword domain space of the 10,000 tribulation sword formation had disappeared. Gone. After a moment of shock, the god-slaying king thought of something, and his heart was shocked. He looked at Yang Xiaoshan, who was still sitting there in disbelief. Could it be? Previously, he saw Yang Xiaoshan sitting in the sword domain space and thought that Yang Xiaoshan just wanted to comprehend the mystery of the sword domain. Unexpectedly, Yang Xiaoshan not only wanted to comprehend, but also wanted to merge. And the fusion was successful. He couldn't believe it. He had practiced the sword for countless years, and he had never heard of anyone who could successfully merge the sword domain. At this time, he saw Yang Xiaoshan stand up, then walk to the second sword domain space, and come to the center of the second sword domain space and sit cross-legged. The god-slaying king felt dry mouth. He stared at Yang Xiaoshan without blinking. This time, he did not practice anymore, nor could he continue to practice. He just sat aside, staring at Yang Xiaoshan, staring at his son, afraid of missing any changes. Under the gaze of the god-slaying king, Yang Xiaoshan quickly comprehended the second sword realm, and then summoned the Evernite sword realm, and followed the same method to integrate it into the second sword realm space. Seeing Yang Xiaoshan's Evernite sword realm integrated into the second sword realm space of the 10,000 tribulation sword formation, the god-slaying king clenched his fist nervously, and time passed bit by bit. All the sword energy power of the second sword realm seemed to be concentrated on Yang Xiaoshan, and Yang Xiaoshan's sword energy became stronger and stronger. But suddenly, the sword energy of Yang Xiaoshan's Evernite sword realm surged, and the space began to expand continuously, and it did not stop until it expanded to 100 miles of space. Minor success. The god-slaying king, who had been staring at Yang Xiaoshan, couldn't help but exclaimed. In 2 months, a sword realm was cultivated from the threshold to the minor success realm. If they could find enough sword domains, wouldn't their son's 15 sword domains soon be able to be cultivated to a minor success? Thinking of the scene of Yang Xiaoshan's 15 sword domains being cultivated to a minor success, Zhu Shen Wang, the first sword god of the demon ancestor continent, could not hide his shock. Back then, the Lord of Heaven and Earth cultivated 14 sword domains to a minor success, which was the peak of the Divine Emperor, and their son was only at the Divine Lord level. Seeing that the Evernite sword domain successfully broke through to a minor success, Yang Xiaoshan felt relieved. Now, he has 9 sword domains that have broken through to a minor success. Now, there are still 6 sword domains left, namely, the Sky Beast, the Sun Devouring, the Black Dragon, the Primordial, the Destiny, and the Time. After practicing for several more days, Yang Xiaoshan got up and walked out of the deepest part of the 10,000 tribulation sword formation, and then walked out of the 10th area with Zhu Shen Wang. However, before coming out, Yang Xiaoshan, considering Zhu Shen Wang's identity, still asked him to wear a mask. This mask was specially made by Yang Xiaoshan, which can block the divine consciousness from visiting. Just as Yang Xiaoshan and the god-slaying king walked out, the red-haired old demon in the 9th area, who had been comprehending the 10,000 tribulation sword formation for many years, recalled the scene of Yang Xiaoshan walking past him from time to time. Whenever he thought of the young man in blue shirt in the God Lord realm, he was always uneasy, and could never calmly comprehend the 10,000 tribulation sword formation. No, when this kid comes out, I must capture him, and see what secrets he has that allow him to walk freely in the 10,000 tribulation sword formation. The red-haired old demon's eyes flickered. So, he kept staring at the 10th area. On this day, when he was staring at the 10th area, suddenly, he saw a blue-shirted figure walking out of the 10th area. The red-haired old demon was startled, and then his face was overjoyed. He stood up suddenly, and walked towards Yang Ocean. "Boy, you finally came out. What's the matter?" Yang Ocean glanced at the red-haired old demon. The red-haired old demon chuckled. "Of course there is something." Then he suddenly grabbed Yang Ocean with his claws. "I want to know what secrets you have that allow you, a master of the divine realm, to enter and exit the 10,000 tribulation sword formation freely." Because the red-haired old demon was fully focused on Yang Ocean, he didn't think much when he saw the god-slaying king behind Yang Ocean. Just when the red-haired old demon was about to catch Yang Ocean, he suddenly felt a sense of danger of death. He turned his head suddenly and saw a dazzling sword energy breaking through the air. The sword energy was so strong that the red-haired old demon's face changed. He didn't care about Yang Ocean and dodged and retreated in panic. He just retreated, and the sword energy almost passed by his chest. Looking at the terrifying sword energy that passed by his chest, the red-haired old demon was covered in cold sweat. He looked at the god-slaying king in fear, and his face changed drastically. "You are." At this time, the god-slaying king's body was surging with divine light, and one after another sword energy containing amazing heavenly tribulation power continued to emerge, reaching 9,000. 9,000 tribulations. God-killing king. The red-haired old demon trembled. Although he was also a powerful ancestor, he was still far behind the first sword god of the demon ancestor continent, God-killing king. God-killing king was comparable to the ancestor of the silver sky blood demon. After forcing the red-haired old demon back with one sword, God-killing king struck out with another sword. The power of the 9,000 tribulation sword was rolling and surging. From a distance, it looked like a calamity in the sky bombarding the red-haired old demon. "Leave him alive," Yang Ocean said to God-killing king. God-killing king understood what Yang Ocean meant. The red-haired old demon was forced to retreat step by step. He tried to escape from the 9th area several times, but every time he tried to escape, he was bombarded back by a giant golden flame tripod. After several hopeless escapes, the red-haired old demon could not help but despair. "What the hell is this tripod? It's more difficult to deal with than God-killing king." Under the attack of God-killing king and Ingui, the red-haired old demon was finally bombarded to the ground. Chapter 947, Offending Princess Bihan. After blasting the red-haired old demon to the ground, the god-slaying king and the Dingli attacked him again one after another. Therefore, the red-haired old demon was just blasted away by the sword energy of the god-slaying king, and then he was blasted away by the Dingli again. After a fierce attack, the red-haired old demon lay on the ground and could no longer move. Yang Ocean and the god-slaying king walked in front of the red-haired old demon. The red-haired old demon did not look at the god-slaying king, but looked at Yang Ocean with horror. This young man in the god lord realm actually subdued the god-slaying king. In addition, the ding on this young man is definitely in existence that surpasses the chaos artifact. It may even be, yes. He dared not imagine it. Yang Ocean came to the red-haired old demon and did not speak, but directly punched the red-haired old demon in the belly. The shuriken that had not appeared in the world for a long time reappeared in the world again. Bang! The power of the shuriken penetrated directly, constantly destroying the red-haired old demon's internal organs. At first, the red-haired old demon didn't feel anything. But as Yang Ocean punched down again and again, the red-haired old demon's face completely changed, from red to purple, then from purple to white, and then from white to red. Half a day later, Yang Ocean and the god-slaying king walked out of the 9th area. But behind them, there was one more person following. Yang Ocean also asked the red-haired old demon to wear a mask. There are many masters who comprehend the 10,000 tribulation sword formation in the 8th area, as many as 4. These 4 people are the famous ghost witch 4 demons in the demon ancestor continent, and their strength is not much weaker than that of the red-haired old demon. The 4 people obviously had the same idea as the red-haired old demon, to capture Yang Ocean and ask him the secret of how Yang Ocean could freely enter and exit the 10,000 tribulation sword formation. The god-slaying king and the red-haired old demon rushed up without saying a word, fighting, abusing, and bombarding. The God Eater clan and the living dead of the God Burial Cliff appeared one after another, and together with the Silver Sky Blood Demon clan, Yangtze Ocean's pressure doubled. Therefore, Yangtze Ocean wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to leave the Wanji Sword formation this time, to recruit as many powerful subordinates as possible. Of course, he didn't want the weak ones. The lowest ones had to be from the 8th area. Those from the first 7 areas were not wanted. Half a day later, Yangtze Ocean walked out of the 8th area. When he came out of the 8th area, in addition to the God Slayer King and the red-haired old demon, there were 4 more people around him. Princess Bihan was comprehending the Wanji sword formation in the 4th area. For more than 2 months, she had been sitting cross-legged in the 4th area, and she could not fully comprehend the sword formation. Like the red-haired old demon, Yangtze Ocean's figure kept appearing in her mind. She could not figure out why Yangtze Ocean could enter the 5th area without the Wanji sword key. The more she thought about it, the more she felt like a demon. In the end, she could not concentrate on comprehending the sword formation, so Princess Bihan had to come out of the Wanji sword formation. Princess Bihan and her subordinates were guarding outside the sword formation. When they saw Princess Bihan come out, they were surprised. In the past, Princess Bihan entered the Wanji sword formation to comprehend the sword formation, and it took at least several decades, and at most hundreds of years, before she came out. This was the first time she came out so quickly. "Princess, are you okay?" one of the old men asked with concern. This old man was one of the sword masters of the Sword Pavilion of the Sword Kingdom. To be able to become a sword master of the Sword Pavilion of the Sword Kingdom, it is enough to show his strength and swordsmanship. "I'm fine." Princess Bihan shook her head and said, "Old Yi, let's go back. In a few days, we will set off for the prehistoric continent." The Battle of the Gods Domain was held in the prehistoric continent. Although it was still early for the Battle of the Gods Domain, she wanted to go there as soon as possible. "Okay." Old Yi nodded. Just as Princess Bihan and others were about to leave, suddenly, the Wanji sword formation flashed, and several figures walked out of the Wanji sword formation. "It's that kid." A servant beside Princess Bihan saw the person coming out and shouted. Princess Bihan turned around and saw that the person who came out was the young man who had haunted her for the past 2 months. "Boy, it's good that you came out." One of Princess Bihan's subordinates immediately swung a sword at Yangtze Ocean. "Disregarding the order of Our Majesty is a capital crime, and daring to hurt our sword country's masters is even more of a capital crime." Many powerful people from the surrounding sects saw this and couldn't help but look over and talk in shock. Who is this young man? How dare he offend Princess Bihan? It seems that 2 months ago, he ignored the order of the Sword Country Emperor, not only trespassed into the Wanji sword formation, but also seriously injured Princess Bihan's subordinates. Everyone knows that Princess Bihan is the beloved of the Sword Country Emperor. To offend Princess Bihan is to offend the Sword Country. Even the Yinshan Blood Demon clan is unwilling to offend the Sword Country. This young man is courting death. The 4th of the 4 ghost witch demons behind Yangtze Ocean saw Princess Bihan's subordinate swinging his sword at Yangtze Ocean. His eyes were bloodshot, and he snorted coldly. Suddenly, Princess Bihan's subordinate shot out like a fallen leaf, fell heavily to the ground, and fainted. Princess Bihan and her subordinates were stunned, looking for death. Dozens of Princess Bihan's subordinates immediately rushed up. "Wait," said Yi Leo, staring at the 4th of the 4 ghost witches with a serious face. "Who are you?" "Who am I?" The 4th ghost witch sneered. "You are not qualified to know. If you want to know who I am, let Benizifan come and ask in person." Benizifan is the real name of the Emperor of the Sword Kingdom. Hearing the 4th ghost witch calling the real name of the Emperor of the Sword Kingdom, not only Princess Bihan and his men were angry, but also Yi Leo and Princess Bihan's faces sank. "Your tone is very arrogant. In this case, I will come to learn from your high skills," Yi Leo said in a deep voice, and he didn't see how he moved. The sword energy in his body surged, condensing behind him like a peacock spreading its tail. In the sword energy, huge demon shadows condensed. "Mad Demon Sword Classic," a sect master exclaimed. The Mad Demon Sword Classic is one of the strongest sword classics in the Sword Kingdom. It is said that it was passed down from a certain demon god in the prehistoric times. If the Demon God Sword Classic is practiced to the pinnacle, 1000 demon shadows can be condensed, which is invincible. The demon shadows condensed behind Yi Leo have reached 900. Yi Leo suddenly swung his sword, and the crazy demon sword key immediately blasted towards Ghost Witch Eld 4. Feeling the destructive power of the crazy demon sword key, Ghost Witch Eld 4 laughed, and the demonic energy in his body roared out, flooding the world. His skinny palm slapped out from the monstrous demonic energy, and the crazy demon sword key was blasted out. Yi Leo retreated hundreds of meters, as if he was hit hard, and a mouthful of blood spurted out. There was a dead silence. Princess Behan and her powerful men looked at Ghost Witch Eld 4 in shock. The masters of other sects around looked at Ghost Witch Eld 4, the weakest of the 4 ghost witches, and their faces changed. Let's go. Yang Xiaoshan glanced at Princess Behan and others, and then took the 6 people of the God-slaying king into the air. Now that the time for the God's domain war is getting closer, he has to hurry up, to comprehend and integrate the sword realms of the other 4 sword formations in Wanji Sword Mountain. Chapter 948. It will take at most half a month to reach Wanji Sword Mountain. Seeing Yang Xiaoshan and his men leave, none of Princess Behan's subordinates dared to stop them. Your Highness, this young man is too arrogant. He repeatedly offends you by relying on his subordinates. We will report to the Emperor and ask him to send the masters of the Sword Pavilion to suppress and kill them. Princess Behan and her subordinates were all angry. Princess Behan looked at Yang Xiaoshan's figure going away, came to Yi Leo, and asked, Yi Leo, are you okay? Princess, I'm fine. Yi Leo shook his head. Let's go back to the Imperial Palace first. Princess Behan pondered, and then took everyone back to the Imperial Palace of the Emperor's Kingdom. After Princess Behan and others left, the scene was in commotion. Who is that young man? His subordinates are so powerful that they can even break the crazy demon sword codex of Yi Leo of Jianje. However, no matter who he is, he will never be able to leave the Sword Kingdom safely if he offends it. Just wait and see. The Emperor of the Sword Kingdom will definitely send the Masters of the Sword Pavilion to suppress and kill them. That's right. The Prince of the Piomio Divine Kingdom killed a general of the Sword Kingdom, and the Emperor of the Sword Kingdom had him beheaded. Although the Piomio Divine Kingdom is not as powerful as the Silver Sky Blood Demon Clan, it is also one of the 10 superpowers in the Demon Ancestor continent. However, such a huge monster, its prince was killed just like that. The Piomio Divine Kingdom even sent troops to the Sword Kingdom because of this, but in the end, the Piomio Divine Kingdom suffered heavy casualties and retreated in just one day. That battle that year showed everyone the terrible foundation of the Sword Kingdom. The ancestor of the Sword Kingdom was one of the 10 ancestors of the Divine Realm, but that battle that year let everyone know that the strongest person in the Sword Kingdom was not the ancestor of the Sword Kingdom. After Yang Xiaoshan left the Wanji Sword Formation, he came to the second sword formation of Wanji Sword Mountain, which gave birth to the Sword Realm. He walked in without hesitation. Zhu Shenwang and his men were guarding outside the sword formation. Yang Xiaoshan came to the Sword Realm space, then sat down cross-legged, and began to comprehend and integrate the Sword Realm. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was comprehending and integrating the Sword Realm, Princess Behan also returned to the Sword Kingdom Imperial Palace, and then reported the matter of Wanji Sword Mountain to the Sword Kingdom Emperor Beizifan. Beizifan was also surprised after hearing this. The Divine Lord Realm can freely pass through the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Formation. Then he asked, can you tell that the young man is at the 9th level of the Divine Lord Realm? Reporting to your majesty, the young man is indeed at the Divine Lord Realm. Yi Leo said with certainty, pausing for a moment and said, however, we can only confirm that he is at the Divine Lord Realm, but we cannot tell which level of the Divine Lord Realm he is at. Beizifan pondered and said, can you tell what kind of skills his subordinate used? Yi Leo recalled, he used the Black Corpse Demonic Key, and then used the Great Desolate Demonic Hand to break my crazy demon sword cannon. Black Corpse Demonic Key, Great Desolate Demonic Hand. Beizifan was surprised. Both the Black Corpse Demonic Key and the Great Desolate Demonic Hand have been extinct for many years. You said that, when the young man went in, he went in alone, and then came out as 7 people. In this case, these 6 people are all masters who have comprehended the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Formation. Benizifan pondered. Then should we check the identities of these 6 people? Princess Bihan hesitated and said. No need. Benizifan shook his head and said, some sword masters secretly enter the Wanji sword formation to comprehend. It is very difficult to find out all of them. Your Majesty, how should this young man be dealt with? A sword master from the sword pavilion said, this person ignored your Majesty's orders, and he and his men injured our sword country masters. If this matter is just let go, then my sword country will probably be laughed at by all parties in the demon ancestor continent. This matter, of course, can't be let go like this. Benizifan pondered and said, let all the sword masters in the sword pavilion prepare and go to Wanji Sword Mountain with me. I want to meet this young man and the 6 sword masters in person. He was too lazy to ask people to check the identity of this young man. For him, it didn't matter who the other party was. A moment later, Benizifan and the 100 sword masters from the sword pavilion broke through the air and came to Wanji Sword Mountain at a very fast speed. Yang Xiaoshan was sitting cross-legged in the space of the sword domain, constantly integrating the 3rd sword domain. He didn't know that Benizifan was coming. Time passed, and 1 month after Yang Xiaoshan entered the 3rd sword realm, he successfully comprehended and integrated the 3rd sword realm. However, just as Yang Xiaoshan came out of the sword formation, he saw the 6 people of the God-slaying king approaching him with a serious face. Young master, something happened. The God-slaying king said in a deep voice, not long after you entered the sword formation to comprehend the sword realm, Benizifan led 100 sword masters of the sword pavilion to come to the 10,000 tribulation sword mountain to kill you. But on the way, they encountered the army of the living dead at the burial god cliff. Hearing that Benizifan and others encountered the army of the living dead at the burial god cliff, Yang Xiaoshan's heart tightened and asked, what happened later? Benizifan was seriously injured, and most of the 100 sword masters of the sword pavilion died. It was only when the army of the sword kingdom arrived that Benizifan and others were able to escape. The God-slaying king said in a deep voice. Yang Xiaoshan was shocked. Benizifan, as the emperor of the kingdom of swords, is undoubtedly as powerful as the flame ancestor. The strength of each of the sword masters in the sword pavilion is comparable to that of the patriarchs of super sects. Some of the sword masters are even stronger than many super sect patriarchs. With such power, Benizifan was seriously injured, and most of the 100 sword masters in the sword pavilion were injured. Although Benizifan is extraordinary, there are too many living dead, and each of them is a master. In addition to the Dark Sky Demon Lord, there are also the Great Emperor Moyan and the Beast-Driving Demon Lord. The red-haired old demon said dozens of powerful beings in one breath. The Great Emperor Moyan, the Beast-Driving Demon Lord, and dozens of other powerful beings. Each of them is not weaker than the Dark Sky Demon Lord. These beings were comparable to the Flame Ancestor when they were alive. After their death, they were buried in the burial god cliff. Now they have all resurrected and become living dead. In addition to the Dark Sky Demon Lord, the Great Emperor Moyan and others, there is also the Blade Absolute Bone Demon. The God-slaying king said in a deep voice. The Blade Absolute Bone Demon was a powerful person who was as famous as him back then. Now, he has also been resurrected from the burial god cliff. The Blade Severing Bone Demon. Yang Xiaoshan's eyes narrowed. It seems that the burial god cliff is far more terrifying and troublesome than he thought. Originally, having a skinny hand was already very troublesome, and now there is another blade severing bone demon. Do you know why these living dead came to the kingdom of swords? Yang Xiaoshan asked. These living dead, they are not coming for me, right? No wonder Yang Xiaoshan thought so, because the burial god cliff had been chasing me all the way before. Some people say that these living dead want to enter the kingdom of hell to find the sword of hell. The god-slaying king said, but I don't know if it's true. I'm afraid these living dead really want to enter the kingdom of hell, and they are coming this way. The red-haired old demon couldn't hide his surprise. To go to the kingdom of hell, the 10,000 tribulation sword mountain is the only way. How long will it take them to reach the 10,000 tribulation sword mountain? Yang Xiaoshan's heart sank and he asked. It will take at most half a month to reach the 10,000 tribulation sword mountain. The god-slaying king estimated and said, Sir, how about we retreat first and hide for a while? Half a month. Yang Xiaoshan frowned. Chapter 949, Blade Kills Bone Demon. It would take Yang Xiaoshan at least a month to comprehend and merge a sword domain, so he didn't have time to merge the 4th sword domain. Knowing that the army of the living dead would pass through the Wanji Sword Mountain, the powerful people who were originally comprehending the sword in the Wanji Sword Mountain all fled. The leader of the 4 ghost witches smiled bitterly. Now there are only 7 of us left in the huge Wanji Sword Mountain. Before, the Wanji Sword Mountain was extremely lively, and masters practicing swordsmanship could be seen everywhere, but now there is not even a ghost to be seen. So, the 6 of you will enter the Wanji Sword Formation to comprehend the sword, and I will enter the 9 Ghost Sword Formation to refine the 4th sword domain. Yang Xiaoshan said. There are still 3 sword domains in the Wanji Sword Mountain. If he is asked to give up, he will really be unwilling. If the army of the living dead goes to the country of hell, they will only pass through the Wanji Sword Mountain. As long as they practice in the depths of the sword formation, the army of the living dead should not notice it. Unless the Dark Sky Demon Lord, Daoju Guemo and others personally go into the depths of the sword formation to investigate. Hearing that Yang Xiaoshan wanted to stay in Wanji Sword Mountain, Zashan Wang and his men were helpless, but they didn't say much. We will follow your orders, young master. Zashan Wang and his men clasped their fists and responded respectfully, then flew into the Wanji Sword Formation. Yang Xiaoshan entered the 9 Ghost Sword Formation of Wanji Sword Mountain, came to the sword domain space of the 9 Ghost Sword Formation, sat down cross-legged, and continued to comprehend and integrate the 9 Ghost Sword domain. Half a month passed. Just as Zashan Wang and his men were comprehending the sword in the depths of the Wanji Sword Formation, they suddenly felt the space trembling. A series of powerful auras continued to come from the sky. These auras gathered into a monstrous demonic power, which made people unable to breathe. Moreover, as time passed, the monstrous demonic power was getting closer and closer, as if it was going to crush the entire space of Wanji Sword Mountain. Even Zashan Wang and his men in the depths of the Wanji Sword Formation felt this terrifying demonic power, and their faces changed drastically. The army of the living dead is finally here. It was also because of their strong strength. If an ordinary super sect leader faced such a terrifying demonic power of the living dead army, he would have fainted directly. As the living dead army continued to approach Wanji Sword Mountain, the airflow of the entire space of Wanji Sword Mountain was reversed, and all the sand and stones were suspended and flew up. The rocks suspended in the air continued to explode, and turned into loose sand. Even the ancient trees, that had been in Wanji Sword Mountain for countless years rose from the ground, floating in the air, and turned into powder one by one. This was even though the living dead army was tens of thousands of miles away. Just the spread of its invisible power was so terrifying. When the living dead army arrived thousands of miles away from Wanji Sword Mountain, the ground around Wanji Sword Mountain was shaking, as if a super earthquake had occurred. The one who led the living dead army was the Blade of Bones demon, who was as famous as the God-slaying king back then. The Blade Absolute Bone Demon carried a huge sword on his back, which was as big as a small mountain. He was extremely thin, as if he had no flesh on his body, and was completely supported by bones. Such a thin body contained boundless demonic energy and sword energy. When he came to the outside of the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Mountain, his empty eyes seemed to see through the layers of time and space, and looked at the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Mountain. The 6 people of the God-slaying king and the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Formation felt the breath of the Blade Absolute Bone Demon, and felt a sense of trembling. The 10,000 Tribulations Bone Demon was indeed terrible, but what was even more terrible was the vast army of the living dead. When the Blade Absolute Bone Demon looked at the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Formation, he seemed to have sensed something, and flew away, and landed in front of the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Formation. Sensing that the Blade Absolute Bone Demon had landed in front of the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Formation, the 6 people of the God-slaying king were shocked. Just as the 6 people of the God-slaying king were silently chanting in their hearts, suddenly, the Blade Absolute Bone Demon's whole body was full of sword energy, and it slammed into the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Formation, blasting away the sword energy in the first area of the 10,000 Tribulation Sword Formation. Then, Daoju Guemo stepped into the Wanji Sword Formation, and walked towards the second area. Seeing Daoju Guemo enter the Wanji Sword Formation, the ZHU Shen Wang and his men in the 8th area were all tense, and dared not reveal a breath. Although the Wanji sword ki of the Wanji sword formation was amazing, Daojuguemo held up his whole body with sword ki and continued to stretch the Wanji sword ki and then walked into the second area. As Daojuguemo continued to walk towards the Wanji sword formation, the 6 ZHU Shenwangs couldn't help but breathe tight and were very nervous. Once discovered by Daojuguemo, it would be a tragic bloody battle. Soon, Daojuguemo came to the third area. The rolling sword ki on his body stirred the Wanji sword ki in the third area. However, in the end, Daojuguemo still withdrew from the third area. Although he could rely on his own cultivation to force himself into the third area of the Wanji sword formation, in order to enter the fourth area, he must comprehend the Wanji sword Dao of the Wanji sword formation. And comprehending the Wanji sword Dao is not a matter of one day or one night. After Daojuguemo came out of the Wanji sword formation, he led the army of living dead and continued to fly towards the kingdom of hell. However, when he left, he suddenly slashed a strong sword energy at the Jyogi sword formation where Yangzai Ocean was. Wanji sword mountain exploded continuously. Daojuguemo and the army of living dead gradually disappeared into the sky. After confirming that Daojuguemo and the army of living dead had completely left, the 6 people of ZHU Shenwang came out of the Wanji sword formation. Seeing Daojuguemo's last sword through the Jyogi sword formation, slashing on Wanji sword mountain, leaving a terrifying crack, the 4 ghost witches were all shocked. "Young master, will you be okay?" The boss of the 4 ghost witches said. "Young master, you will be okay." ZHU Shenwang shook his head. He knew the horror of Master Ding. With Master Ding's defense, Daojuguemo's sword was terrifying, but it could not hurt their young master. Half a month after the army of living dead left, Yangzai Ocean finally comprehended the 4th sword domain and merged it successfully. Afterwards, Yangzai Ocean continued to work non-stop and began to comprehend and merge the last 2 sword domains of Wanji Sword Mountain. When Yangzai Ocean successfully merged the last 2 sword domains of Wanji Sword Mountain, he had 11 sword domains break through the minor success stage, and only 4 sword domains had not been broken through. Yangzai Ocean looked in the direction of the Hell Kingdom. The Hell Kingdom is an imperial kingdom under the Sword Kingdom. It has 4 sword formations that gave birth to the sword domain, and the Chaos Demon Lord's cave is in the Hell Kingdom. However, since the army of the living dead entered the Hell Kingdom more than 2 months ago, it has not left and has been entrenched in the Hell Kingdom. The army of the living dead has not left, which is a big problem. In the past 2 months, the Sword Kingdom has also sent troops to kill the living dead, but the Sword Kingdom has suffered heavy casualties in several battles. The previously invincible Sword Kingdom has suffered heavy casualties several times, which has made other empires and super sects in the Demon Ancestor continent even more uneasy. The army of the living dead occupied the kingdom of hell, and Yangzai Ocean had no choice but to merge the other 4 sword realms of the kingdom of sword. However, after several months, when Yangzai Ocean successfully merged the other 4 sword realms, the army of the living dead still occupied the kingdom of hell and did not leave. Chapter 950, The Monkey King from Hell. Seeing that the army of the living dead was still entrenched in the land of hell and had not left, Yangzai Ocean decided to sneak into the land of hell. After all, the battle of the god realm was getting closer and closer, and who knew when the army of the living dead would leave. Knowing that Yangzai Ocean was going to enter the land of hell, the god-slaying king and his men were shocked. "Sir, the land of hell is too dangerous now." The god-slaying king shook his head and said, "Sir, there is no need to take this risk." "Well, you wait for me here." Yangzai Ocean said to the 6 god-slaying kings, "If I haven't come back within a year, you go to Honghuang City on the Honghuang continent first." The 6 god-slaying kings looked at each other. "I'm willing to go to the land of hell with you." The god-slaying king hesitated and said, "No need." Yangzai Ocean shook his head and said, "The more people we have, the easier it is to be exposed. Don't worry, I was able to leave safely at the burial cliff before." But Yangzai Ocean didn't say that the last time he was at the burial cliff, he was able to leave safely because Daojuguemo, Emo Yundi, and the beast driver demon lord had not been resurrected yet. Afterwards, Yangzai Ocean hid in space and flew to the kingdom of hell. Seeing this, the 6 people of the god-slaying king could only wait for Yangzai Ocean's return at the Wanji Sword Mountain. As Yang Zai Ocean flew at a high speed, the kingdom of hell was getting closer and closer. After a few days, they finally saw the kingdom of hell. The kingdom of hell was called the kingdom of hell because this place was the place where the Lord of Hell practiced in seclusion. The Lord of Hell was a powerful person of the same period as the Lord of Chaos, and was also one of the few powerful people in the domains who could stand shoulder to shoulder with the Lord of Chaos. Yang Zai Ocean stopped at the edge of the kingdom of hell. There was blood mist in front of him, and gusts of cold wind, like the screams of millions of ghosts. There is a deep valley of hell in the kingdom of hell, and the cold wind keeps pouring out from the deep valley of hell, sweeping across the entire kingdom of hell, so the cold wind in the kingdom of hell is very strong. These blood mists are a kind of cold and poisonous gas that keeps floating out from the ground of the kingdom of hell. Yang Zai Ocean paused for a while, and flashed into the kingdom of hell. After entering the kingdom of hell, the earth cracked, the mountains were destroyed, and the rivers were cut off by sword energy. It was a desolate and devastated land. Obviously, this was the result of several battles between the army of the Kingdom of Sword and the army of the living dead. The space was still filled with the power of destruction. On the devastated land, some corpses could be seen occasionally. Many of these corpses were masters of the Kingdom of Sword who died in battle. Some were living dead. These living dead were difficult to kill, and difficult to injure. To kill these living dead, they usually had to behead or explode. Yang Zai Ocean kept flying to the north of the kingdom of hell. Among them, 2 sword formations of the sword domain were located in the north of the kingdom of hell. In the past, many masters of the magic way who practiced the yin cold technique would choose to establish caves in the kingdom of hell for cultivation, but at this moment, with the living dead occupying the kingdom of hell, no masters of the magic way could be seen. What made Yang Zai Ocean feel relieved was that the army of the living dead was mainly stationed in the west of the kingdom of hell, so he rarely encountered living dead all the way north. Occasionally, a large number of living dead would fly over from the north, but they were rare. After Yang Zai Ocean dodged several groups of living dead, he finally arrived in front of the first Sword Realm sword array. This sword array was in a primeval forest. The other one was not far away. As long as Yang Zai Ocean merged these 2 sword realms, his Destiny Sword Realm would be able to break through to a small success. At that time, only the last time Sword Realm would be left. After entering the primeval forest, there was a dead silence. But Yang Zai Ocean always felt uneasy. However, he unfolded his soul power and did not find anything abnormal. Yang Zai Ocean flew forward carefully, but after flying for a while, Yang Zai Ocean suddenly stopped. He looked around in shock. Is this a psychedelic array? The illusion array is the most bizarre array. In the illusion array, everything is real and unreal, and what you see with your naked eyes may not be true. If you can't get out of the illusion, you will be trapped in the illusion array, and will never be able to get out of the illusion. Yang Zai Ocean came to a tree and punched out. The force of the punch hit the tree, but the tree was fine. Obviously, this tree did not exist. It was just an illusion he saw. Then, Yang Zai Ocean punched out again, and several ancient trees in front were blown into powder. However, the ancient trees that had just been blown into powder unexpectedly regrouped again. Yang Zai Ocean couldn't help but rise from the ground and fly high into the sky, trying to fly out of this primeval forest, but he found that no matter how he flew, he was always in this primeval forest and couldn't fly out at all. This is a 17th level illusion formation. Although your formation is strong, you can't break it with your current strength. Ding Yi's voice sounded. 17th level illusion formation. Isn't that an illusion formation set up by a supreme realm powerhouse? Exclamation mark. Yang Zai Ocean was shocked. Let me do it. Ding Yi flew out from Yang Zai Ocean. His whole body was blazing with golden flames, and then there was a buzzing sound, and the body of the tripod emitted a circle of golden light waves. The light waves continued to flood every corner of the primeval forest like waves. Wherever the light waves passed, the primeval forest seemed to be rejuvenated, emitting vitality that was not there just now. When the illusion array of the primeval forest was broken, the sword array that Yang Zai Ocean was looking for appeared in front of Yang Zai Ocean. Without hesitation, Yang Zai Ocean entered the sword array, and then sat cross-legged in the space of the sword domain, and began to comprehend and integrate the first sword domain. With Yang Zai Ocean's hard work, he finally succeeded in integrating this sword domain. Yang Xiaoshan immediately flew to the second sword domain sword array. However, when Yang Xiaoshan came to the second sword domain sword array, he saw that the sword array was full of ghost monkeys. Ghost monkeys are a kind of terrifying creatures in the country of hell. They have ghost faces and strange looks. This kind of creatures come in groups, are abnormally fast, and their claws are highly poisonous. They like to eat human brains. Seeing tens of thousands of ghost monkeys surrounding the sword formation, Yang Xiaoshan frowned. Although these ghost monkeys were not strong, if they were killed, the power fluctuation would inevitably attract the attention of the living dead. If the army of the living dead was attracted, the consequences could be imagined. Yang Xiaoshan thought about it, and finally decided to set up several shielding formations around. As long as the shielding formations were successfully set up, the power of the fight would not fluctuate outside the formations. However, these ghost monkeys had a strong sense of smell and feeling, so it was difficult to successfully set up several shielding formations around. Therefore, Yang Xiaoshan had to be careful. With Yang Xiaoshan's extreme caution, the first shielding formation was finally set up successfully. But just as Yang Xiaoshan began to set up the second shielding formation, the ghost monkey leader looked at Yang Xiaoshan's hiding place with a suspicious look, and then slowly walked towards Yang Xiaoshan's hiding place. Yang Xiaoshan did not dare to move again, and held the heaven and earth sword tightly in his hand. As long as the ghost monkey leader found the clue, he would kill him with lightning speed. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.